Test, 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 1, 2, 3. Now is the time for all good men to come to the aid of their party. The quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog. I said, now, I'm just testing. Now is the time for all men to come to the aid of their party. The quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog.
Okay.
Remember that from typing class?
Yeah.
ASDF.
Typing class at my middle school on an actual typewriter.
Wow.
I didn't have the last type. I was right we were among the first in our school to get the IBM Selectric. Because prior to that, it was you have to really work hard, and then we all of a sudden had this IBM Selectric that went like rapid fire, and it was way too fast for me.
Better than the chisel, though, right?
What's that?
Better than the chisel.
It was.
Oh, those were the days.
It was, yeah. That's when when I started. It was when it was a chisel.
We had some like PCs or whatever for the typing. But what we really want to do is hurry up and get to Mavis Beacon so we could all go onto the old Macs and play Oregon Trail.
There you go. So I was already a grown up when Oregon Trail came out, and I was in my 30s, I think, and I was running a youth program, and so we had Macs with Oregon Trail on them. We were doing an after-school tutoring program, and we had pretty much I spent my time doing Oregon Trail because that's right, and trying to live off of squirrels.
What would you like to set? Bare bones.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm blessed. How are you?
Blessed. Good to see you. Check, check, check.
I have
Is it going like
a
to
cheat
the top
sheet
pretty
if
much? Check,
I need it,
Look on the screen.
but
Is it
I
going to
don't
yellow?
need it.
check, check, check.
The story is pretty simple, straightforward. Hello there.
I got a whole table of COTS people coming to the banquet.
Oh, wonderful. Table of COTS people coming to the banquet.
Yeah. And Sam and Clarita are coming too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yes. Yep, Shannon Gray.
What time's that at?
10 o'clock tonight.
She wanted to work for us at one point.
Okay, so you should be good here, and then obviously with Zoom, so you're not. It'll just do the speaker through the computer, but then this should be good, so you should hear it. And like I said, if you need to adjust the volume, just
Okay.
do it.
And that's primarily for Zoom, or is that for just everything? Is
Zoom.
that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just so you can.
Okay.
So you can have the conversation, but then we can get the audio from them, and cause we already have you mic'd up, so we can mix them together over there.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just it was finicky trying to figure
Did-
out.
So you guys had, with the tech calls, you had been going over that sort of thing, and
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and that's why I said it's figuring out, but like with this, it's like I wanted you to be able to hear it,
Right.
But then I needed the sound too,
Right.
And just figuring out, but then
Because if it's on speaker there, then it could create a loop. And
yeah.
Yeah.
And then I had to get the sound thing too, because when I first tested it out, I wanted it to be loud enough for the computer, but then when I was doing that, it was just blasting in the headphones too. So that's why I had to get that volume adjuster right there. But And then I made this so, you know, you can scoot it over or not.
A bit of that cleaning up now.
Okay.
First, you know.
Oh. Do you see?
Text Kathy Gilman mobile. Clark Pest Control is coming by to do the pest service pretty soon.
The vehicle's made for a pretty good barrier.
What's your title now? Oh, okay.
Yes.
Armin was asking.
Oh, okay.
I said, I don't know. He jumps sides. I don't
No, he went on a side quest. Came back.
know. They got you a nice bench.
They did get me a nice bench.
Good.
We walked into Thrift and the light was shining on it, and I go, there it is.
Oh, that's so great. I was so worried that they were going to stick him on like a regular bench.
Well, that's
We
what
were.
had.
We
Yeah.
were.
Yeah.
And that's fine. That's
Yeah.
just,
Well, I
you
know
know.
you'd say that's fine, but on our 20-something, you'd probably be like, oh,
Us too.
I wish we could have
Yeah,
two
well,
pillows.
I wanted something where other people felt comfortable sitting, where you're not like,
Yeah.
so.
I better go sit down.
Your knees are pressed together.
I better go sit down. This is fun.
And then all this camera too is one of our.
So there is some structure, so we can have
So you're just throwing me, George, help! I've got 1 minute. So
you
What-
could introduce what we're doing, why we're doing it, and I would say we'll have our first conversation with Christian.
Christian
and you
Crossland.
could sit down and make sure you're talking to the mic.
Okay. So I'm going to just talk to the camera, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then when you're having other just have a natural conversation. Don't worry about where the camera is, so it's authentic.
Okay.
So we should have the windows off so that people aren't going to walk through your shot. Oh, like that? Does it have to be built?
So while you're talking to Christian, at some point Robin should, or Sheldrake should show up to do that.
The people can hear me.
Yeah, I think so.
Even before it starts, Robinson, I can hear you.
It's fine.
Hi, welcome to Conversations on a Bench. I'm going to be sitting here for the next 24 hours having conversations. You're certainly welcome to join the conversation. You can come on down. There are opportunities for you to submit questions via the comment section on both YouTube and Facebook, whatever you're going to be on. And I am just delighted to have this opportunity to address what is certainly the most, remaining the most serious social concern in our society. But more than a social concern, it is a concern for the lives of people in our communities, people who struggle with life, people who struggle for very existence. And we're excited because we have answers. We know the person who can transform lives and provide hope and transformation for people in need in our community. And so we're going to have a series of conversations, both with people who are in our community. And as you can see, we're just live because we've got a truck passing by. So people who are struggling in our community, people who have experienced transformation through this ministry, people who are in a position of setting public policy or implementing public policy. So we're going to have a lot of conversations over the next 24 hours. And we're also going to be talking to ministries like us in our community over the next 24 hours. So stay tuned. Join us when you can. And we're looking forward to having conversation with you. Right off the bat, I would love to introduce to you Christian Crossland. And come on, Christian, come and have a seat. And Christian is somebody who has both experienced homelessness, experienced the transformation that God can give. I'm already stealing your thunder, and is in a position to share with others, to help others who are struggling as well. If we can have you put that in front of your face, and let's hope that people can hear you as you're talking. Hi, Christian.
How you doing, Jeff?
I'm doing well. I'm so glad to have you up first. Just tell me, what do you do at Redwood Gospel Mission?
Well, I have the privilege of being the guest services manager, so I get to work with our emergency shelter guests, and we offer a lot of different services to the general public, which is anybody that walks through our doors can come to breakfast, come to our devotions in the morning. They can come to dinner and come to our chapel service in the evening. For men, we have showers Monday through Saturday that comes with clothes and different hygiene products. And then we also offer emergency shelter by way of beds in our chapel. They can stay with us for up to 30 days. And then we also tell them about all of our great life-transforming programs.
And you also have the responsibility of overseeing one of those life-transforming programs, don't you?
Yeah, we also have a transitional savings program, which if a guest has a job and they don't have a life-controlling issue such as drugs or some other kind of a addiction, alcohol or whatever it may be, they can stay with us for 6 months, save up money. They have to attend church weekly, do daily devotions, and help the other guests through some access service here at 6th Street.
So I'm going to ask you more about that program, but first, you have your own story. Tell us a little bit about your story. What has happened in your life?
Yeah, so May 1st, 2015, I had some friends tell me about the Redwood Gospel Mission because I became homeless. And they walked me through the front door, and I looked into the chapel while chapel was going on. They said, you can get food and shelter here. And I said, well, I'm homeless, but I'm not that homeless. And, over the next 6 months, from May 1st to November 1st, I was homeless. I had nowhere to stay. I didn't know where to get food and clothes. So I kept coming here over and over. And I'd stay here for a few days, and then I'd go stay on the bike path or next to the creek or out next to the Russian River in Guerneville because my brother lives out there. And, during that time, I ended up in the ICU. I ended up in jail. I burned every bridge with family and friends, and I had nowhere to turn. But every time, I kept coming back to the mission, And when I went to jail, there was nobody to call. There was nobody that was going to come visit me. There was nobody that was going to put money on my books. But when I came to the mission, I wanted to try and get a bed, even though I knew my 30 days weren't up yet of eligibility to be able to get a bed again. But there was a guy at the front desk named Brian Robinson who had gone through the program, and he said, could I see your ID? And so I went into my pocket to grab my ID, and my jail paperwork fell out. And I was like, oh boy, I'm like, now I'm definitely not going to get a bed. But he said, anybody that just got out of jail deserves a break. And so that really broke me, and that really made me wonder, like, what is different about these people, Because I had heard the gospel in the chapel over and over and over again. But, at that point, really showed me that they didn't look at me as a drug addict or a criminal. They just looked at me as somebody that Jesus died for. So
Wow.
that made me more interested in listening to what was going on in the chapel. And then on November 1st, that's when I finally decided to go all in and join the New Life program. And shortly within that week, in the chapel right here, is where I gave my life to the Lord. And I never looked back.
So you had come from a family that of people who had struggled with substance abuse, people who had parents who had themselves had experienced homelessness, etc.
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, my everybody in my immediate family struggles with addiction, and actually about a month after I became homeless, my mom became homeless, but in Illinois. And a month after I came into the New Life program, she went into the Women's Life Recovery program at the Rockford Rescue Mission. And so we were going through the same Genesis process, which is, a workbook to kind of go through all that trauma, that you go through with addiction and, growing up in an addict family and deal with that stuff. And so we were going through that at the same time.
Amazing.
We gave our life to the Lord at the same time, so we both got clean and sober at the same time.
That is a phenomenal story.
Yeah.
What happened to you after you left the mission? What did you do?
So, first off, while I was in the program, I was doing a coffee roasting program. So you can go through a certification to learn how to roast coffee here, and be able to get a job, roasting coffee somewhere. Which I think coffee is second to oil as far as commodities traded in the world. I'll wait for this truck. And so we were learning how to do coffee, and I got this new acquired skill. And the guy who showed me how to roast coffee, his name is Max, he said, do you have any interest in working in the coffee industry? And I said, well, it's super interesting, and I'm super glad I know how to make a good cup of coffee now, and I know the difference between good coffee and bad coffee, but I think I want to do something in ministry. I don't think I want to go back out into the world and work in a secular job again. And he goes, I think you should go to Bible college. Bible college? What is that? And he told me about Bible college, and he showed me a video from his Bible college. And I was like, yeah, that's what I want to do, and that's what I'm going to do. And I just believed by faith that the Lord was going to provide, because he had already provided for me for months and months, food and shelter and clothing and everything I needed. So if, that God had already done all this, then, who am I to say that he couldn't provide for me to go to Bible college? And so with the mission and my church and my coach and with some other people, the Lord provided the funds to go to that first semester. I graduated the program, and I went down to Bible college and I took as many credits as possible because I thought I was only going to be there for the one semester. After the semester, I called my coach and said, "Hey, I need help finding a job and a place to live." And he said, "Well, why don't you stay there and do the full 2 years and get your associate's degree?" And I said, "Well, that would be cool." I said, "But I don't have the money to do that." And he said, "Oh, well, I'll just provide for your next 3 semesters." So I had my whole 2 years fully paid for, and I got an associate's in biblical studies from Calvary Chapel Bible College.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And following your graduation, my guess is that you were given a ministry opportunity right away.
Well, no, actually, I applied here over and over, and nothing opened up, unfortunately. But fortunately, I was there, and I got rooted in the community in Murrieta, Temecula, and I was very active in my church, teaching in the children's ministry, and getting to be a part of a ministry called Hands and Feet in the Inland Empire area, where we would go into different facilities and take the gospel to people who wouldn't necessarily get to hear it, kind of like what we do here. And I did that until COVID. I don't know if you heard about this COVID-19 thing that happened.
There was a rumor about it, yeah.
But during COVID, the Christian Conference Center that I was at obviously wasn't doing any conferences. So a lot of people were getting downsized. And, luckily my position wasn't downsized, but I started looking for other options. And I had applied to another homeless serving agency in the area, Catholic Charities. And they offered me a part-time position at first. And I said, well, no, if I'm going to move, I need a full-time position. So eventually they came back a few weeks later and they offered me a full-time position. And then once I was in the area, we had moved our operations from 6th Street for our emergency shelter and our programs up to Alliance of the Redwoods. And that's when a job opening came open, and I was able to switch over to working for the Redwood Gospel Mission.
So your first day working for the Redwood Gospel Mission was out in the woods, right?
Yes, absolutely.
What a time that was. So again, I was going to come back. Tell us a little bit about some of the experiences that you've had in working with people at the mission and what God has done in their lives. Do you have some stories that come to mind?
Yeah, well, I mean, I get to see people, all the time. I think about like John Sinkiao.
Mm-hmm.
So he was a guest, and he was staying in our chapel, and struggling with addiction as many people do, and I just kept encouraging him, hey, come in and do this New Life program, because it changed my life. It changed my destination,
Mm-hmm.
And he would think about it, but we were just persistent, and finally he decided to give it a try. And he stayed for a while and did the program, and then unfortunately he left. But then he went out back into his addiction, and he came back. And he came back as a guest again, and we kept encouraging him, hey, look how good things were going when you were in the New Life program. And so we went back into it, and this time he graduated, and now he's flourishing, and now he picks up guys and takes them to recovery meetings. He's active in his church, and yeah.
Okay, awesome. And he's just one of many stories that you have engaged with. One of the blessings that you bring to our guests, and certainly one of the blessings that you have, is having been through this New Life program and sharing with others the opportunities that are there, and people can see that there is a difference that God makes in people's lives.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you, in the New Life program, what are some of the things that were most profound for you in helping you to live a victorious life?
Well, I think what impacted me the most was the opportunity to go see different churches, and to not just attend those churches, but to have a mentor from that church to kind of walk me through, what is church.
Yeah, you got to go back to the criminal record. Come on. Come
And
on. Talk a little bit about the truth, what the church is. This
to show me church so that I'm not just walking in there blindly. Have somebody that I know feel comfortable, get me involved in the small groups, and kind of hold my hand through the process so that I didn't have to walk it out alone. Same thing with having a sponsor, somebody to walk me through the 12 steps, and I didn't have to do it alone. And because I did try 12 steps before, and I would get a few months on my own of sobriety, but I couldn't do it myself. And yeah.
So relationships are pretty key to finding victories. Like
absolutely.
having sponsor, mentor, coaches, those kind of people in your lives. Do you still have a relationship with some of those folks?
I still talk to my coach. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
And I have all kinds of church mentors. I'm involved with a lot of different churches now, and that's where I found my home.
Okay, awesome. So one of the things that we love to communicate to folks who are watching folks all the time is the importance of relationship. You grew up with dysfunctional relationships, but you mentioned that your mom became homeless about the time you did, and then found Christ about the time that you did, and found recovery at the time you did, and has overcome her own struggles. And you also have a story about your dad as well.
Yeah. So I got saved in November 2015, and for about 8 years I was praying for my dad to come into a relationship with Jesus.
And you didn't have a great relationship with him at that time.
No, about 2 years ago now, I had been praying, but for my dad, to come into a relationship, but we weren't talking. Nor was I talking to my stepmom. My dad got remarried, and my stepmom had reached out to me and said, "Hey, Christian, I want to let you know that I've been born again and baptized, and I want to invite you to church." And I was already a part of a local church, but I said, "Okay, sure, I'd love to come to church with you." So I went to my church, and then I went to her church after, and she said the next week she messaged me again, and she said, "Hey, guess what?" And I'm like, "What? You got baptized again?" And she said, your dad wants to come to church. And I said, wow. So I went to church with them again, and I continued to do that for about 9 months. And my pastor at my other church, who recently passed, Pastor Ross, told me that I should switch churches permanently, because he thought that the most important thing for me to do was be with my dad at church. So I did, and I switched churches, and now my dad is flourishing. He's got a relationship with Jesus. He reads his Bible. When I call him, he talks to me. When I call him to vent, he doesn't really listen to my venting anymore. Now he tries to minister to me, and he asks if he could pray for me now. He's a part of the Life Packs group at the Promise Center, where they put together little care packages for the homeless. And he's also a part of the Wisdom Bible study for people 55 and up. And, his week isn't right if he couldn't make it to Bible study. So
Wow.
It's a complete transformation.
Family restoration.
Yeah.
Through, no doubt, your family looking to see what Christ has done in your life. We're glad to have been a little part of what God is doing.
Huge part.
And so, well, God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have no idea who's joining us on the stream, but what we do know is that those people who are hearing your testimony are blessed and can share that with other people. And we certainly will be recording this so that others can hear the goodness of God and what He's done in your life.
Absolutely.
So,
One last thing.
yes.
So I'm a part of the Christian Motorcyclists Association.
Yes.
And last night we had our monthly chapel here, and they asked me if I would give the message, and I said, "Oh, you want me to share my testimony?" And they said, "Yeah, well, we want to share your testimony, but we also want you to preach a message." And I said, "Sure, I got it." So I gave my testimony, and then I gave a gospel message and talked about sin and talked about repentance. And last night we had 4 people come forward and give their lives to the Lord. So
Praise God.
2 of those guys want to sign up for the program. One of them
Wonderful.
already put in his application. So
Wonderful. Awesome.
yeah,
Amazing.
Jesus is moving.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Wow. Well, that was a great start for us. We are hoping that you will be blessed, and that all of those who tune in over the next 24 hours will experience a blessing of hearing those kind of stories, because there are many stories of what God is doing. I think, though I don't know, I've got my handlers that may tell me what happens next, but I think we might have something going on with a local radio station, folks who want to connect with us. I'll try to get somebody's attention so that we can take the next step about connecting with the local radio station. I need my producer to come in and talk to me a little bit about what happens next. Well, you can have a seat.
yes.
So
Yeah.
so you can tell me, and you can tell us what's
Exactly.
going on.
Exactly.
So pull that in with you so people can hear you. And what are we waiting for?
We're waiting for our next guest to arrive, so they're
Okay.
on our way, and so we could play our video.
Okay.
That goes over our all of our ministries.
Okay, well, that would be a great idea. You might be blessed. In fact, you will be blessed to know just a little bit about what happens at Redwood Gospel Mission. And I don't need to introduce it. Here's Redwood Gospel Mission. In the grace and power of Jesus Christ, the Redwood Gospel Mission mobilizes our community to minister to people in need so that lives are transformed. Many people think of the Redwood Gospel Mission as simply a place that serves meals. And indeed, we served more than 130,000 meals last year. But we do far more than meals. As many as 160 people were provided shelter just last night. We provide shelter for men, for women, for families in various locations. We provide chapel services and meals and a transitional savings program. We have an outreach center in Ukiah, the Center for Hope. In addition to that, we have the nomadic shelter. Many churches throughout the community provide shelter for people in need in our community. We have an outreach mobile ministry providing showers and laundry units in Sonoma County and Mendocino County, reaching people who need to hear a message of hope and be invited into life change. And speaking of life change, we have a new life program for men and women in recovery, a 10 to 14 month program for people with life-controlling issues. In this program, we offer Bible, recovery, and life skills classes. We provide coaching, mentoring, counseling, case management, and a variety of other services to people in need. We have an industrial ministries with 2 thrift stores, a recycling center, and we offer certification programs in retail management, commercial truck driving, and forklift driving. We have a community assistance program. Thousands of items of clothing and household items are provided to people free of charge in our community through our industrial ministries. We have an entire food services department at Redwood Gospel Mission with a catering company, a mobile food trailer, a coffee roasting company, Redwood Gospel Coffee, as well as a coffee cart. And we provide a variety of community ministries such as our Easter outreach, homeless birthday party, City Kids Festival, the Great Thanksgiving Banquet, a Christmas celebration, and many other outreach events. We provide equipping and empowering seminars such as Peacemaker Ministries, Helping Without Hurting, Mentor and Disciple Training, our prayer ministry, and a variety of other training programs that we provide throughout the community for people in our community to be able to more effectively care for folks in need. There are ways that you can get involved. You can go to our website at rgm.org or call 578-1830. That's 707-578-1830. God bless you. Well, I hope that was a blessing to you. We are thrilled that you're here watching, that those of you who are participating in Facebook and participating in in YouTube are here joining with us. Invite your friends to come and see what's going on. We have a lot of guests that we're going to be talking to, people who are experiencing homelessness, people who are community leaders, people who are part of our Redwood Gospel Mission team. And I'm delighted to be joined by Mackenzie High. And Kenzie is the Director of Shelter and Recovery Ministries for Redwood Gospel Mission. And Kenzie, you have your own story. You have your own story, a background in how ultimately how you came to Redwood Gospel Mission, but how you found Christ, and tell us a little bit about your background.
Okay. Well, fortunately, I came to Christ many years ago when I was invited to church by my sister-in-law at the time, and so
I'm going to ask you to pull that mic in and talk to the mic, okay?
So when I was about 20 years old was when my journey with Christ really began and my commitment to Him. But between that time and the time I came to Redwood Gospel Mission, a lot of things happened. I suffered from addiction and was homeless on the streets for 8+ years.
My oh my.
And it wasn't until I finally got so exhausted and afraid to not have anywhere to go, any way to shelter or protect myself, that I made a decision to come to a recovery program here in Santa Rosa, and that was about 10 years ago, and I've been with Redwood Gospel Mission for 8 of those 10 years.
Okay, wonderful. So how does your experience inform how you minister to others in our community?
I certainly hope that my experience helps affect my ministry. I know what it's like to be on the street, have nobody to look out for you, nobody that is wondering how you're doing. There was just a lot of time that I was estranged from my family. I didn't have anywhere to sleep at night. I didn't have any way to feed myself. And so I used drugs as a way to kind of numb that pain and sort of just keep going, because if you don't have anywhere to sleep, you don't feel comfortable going to sleep anywhere. So for me, it was methamphetamine that kept me going, and kind of a way to connect with people on the street as well, because you wind up forming connections with other people that are using. The heartbreak of being estranged from my family, being wounded on the street and not having anybody to care or look out for me, was really traumatic for me. And so when people come in, I believe that I know where they're coming from. I believe that I know how they're feeling. And I really feel called to just create a place for them that is that's safe, that's clean, that's loving.
So we just had Christian Crossland talking to us, and he talked about estrangement from his family, and what that caused his homelessness. He didn't have a place to turn. He didn't have family to turn to in his crisis. You, because of your estrangement, you didn't have family to turn to.
Right.
At first, when you experienced homeless, did you have some places to go? Did you have people that you could turn to at all for a short period of time?
Because my addiction was kind of a precursor to homelessness, the relationships that I had at that time were all using relationships. And so anybody that I had to turn to were other people that I was using with. And so ultimately those weren't safe relationships, but that is where I turned.
Yeah. And so relationships, healthy, unhealthy, broken, estranged relationships are so integral to homelessness and people's experience with homelessness. Is that your experience with those that you have served through Redwood Gospel Mission?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
So my question is, so let me back up first of all. Before you were Director of Shelter and Recovery Ministries, you had another role at Redwood Gospel Mission. What was that role?
I was the manager of the Rose Shelter for Women, which
Okay.
is a 30-day shelter for women and their children.
Okay, so we would call it an emergency shelter,
An
right?
emergency shelter, yes.
And so people would come to the Rose. Typically, what was the situation with their family relationships?
You know, something that comes to mind is when we do the intake process, one of the questions that we ask is for an emergency contact. And so often people say, I don't have anybody. And because I've done this a while and I know the importance of having an emergency contact on file, I always would encourage staff, press a little bit, right? Because if something happens, you want to have somebody to call. But oftentimes people say, I don't have anybody. And it's nice to see them come into the shelter, get comfortable with the other shelter guests, with the volunteers that come in. They form relationships with staff, and to see them kind of settle in and form a community there is really special.
Goes for an evening something. I can't remember exactly. And I was, talking to some of the Rose guests, and I noticed there on that day there were 6 women at the Rose, 6 women who were in their 70s or older.
Yeah.
And I was just stunned because it begs the question: where are your families? Where's your why is Grandma on the streets? Why is Grandma in a homeless shelter? And I was broken-hearted when I heard the answers, and they were varying answers. But in some cases, it was the system itself that kept them from being with their children. One woman said, "My children are on Section 8 housing, and if I go and stay with my children, they will lose their housing because my meager Social Security income will put them over so that they can't have me in their home." Or they have a limited number of people that can be allowed to be in that apartment. And it was heartbreaking that children were making decisions to protect their housing while leaving Grandma on the street. It was so heartbreaking. What do you see as solutions? What do you see as answers? What have you experienced with the people that you've served about what possible answers there can be? What were answers for you, first of all, and what are answers for others?
Well, the answer for me is, I think that the answer that you're looking for, which is community.
Mm-hmm.
When I came into recovery, I came into a program that surrounded us with church and people that cared about us and lifted us up, and there was a community that was built into that program. I will say that there's a caution that when you build your community within a program, if you leave that when it's time to leave that program, the community's not there for you anymore.
Absolutely.
So it needs to be bigger, right?
So when you left your recovery program, you didn't just go out and get a 2-bedroom apartment and where did you go first? What did you do?
Well, first I went back to Mom's house.
So you had some.
I was able to reunite with my family and reestablish those relationships.
That's not insignificant.
No.
Now, it did mean that everything was great and wonderful and healthy with your family because you came from a family of dysfunction, but you had family to turn to once your life was stable and healthy. You were able to reconnect. So
right.
that was something, and then you didn't just move out on your own all by yourself.
No, and I'm glad you asked the question because let me tell you the story. It hasn't been and then this happened and I lived happily ever after. Right. So I was at Mom and Dad's house. I stayed for about a year when it became apparent that it wasn't good for me to stay there longer. Now, mind you, I was commuting over the mountain from Lake County to work every day. I was just being called to be here, right? But I didn't know where to go necessarily. I was starting to build my community. I had relationships in the church. I saw what other people did. I had been working here for a little while. But I really had to get creative. And it wasn't something, because your first thought is, well, I'll go apply for an apartment, right? And it's not everybody can afford that. So what I did was I reached out to the churches that I was connected with. I reached out in my church, and I was just beginning the Stevens ministry training at another church, and so I was able to talk to their leadership, and they connected me with a family that was looking to rent out a room. That was the first step. I was there for about 6 months, and then I needed to move someplace else, and I managed a recovery home for a short time, and from there I moved somewhere else, and somewhere else, and somewhere else. And today, I share a 2-bedroom apartment with a roommate. I've had 3 roommates, 3 excellent roommates. The Lord's been gracious to provide those people. And so it feels really good to be able to have a place where I can bring my family, she can bring her family. We can keep things the way we like them, a sober environment, a clean environment, a healthy environment. And that's a big comfort, because when I was on the street, I just had to settle wherever I could fit. These weren't healthy, these were not safe, and I feel like today I'm able to be in healthy relationships and protect myself.
So throughout human history, most everyone who's ever lived throughout human history, the majority of people who've ever lived throughout human history have lived with someone.
Right.
People don't live alone. It's not the norm to be alone. In fact, God says in Genesis 1, it's the first not good thing. It's not good for a man to be alone. Yeah. And so we understand the value of community. We understand the lack of community, the lack of healthy, supportive environment. Oops, sorry about that. The lack of healthy, supportive environment is a root of homelessness, and probably it's the common denominator that we experience for people who come and stay with us.
Yeah.
And but the restoration of relationships and the building of new relationships are key to experiencing long-term stability and health. And you've experienced that personally.
Yeah.
And you're able to communicate and share that with others as well.
Right.
So it's something that we're going to hear over the next 24 hours that is a theme for the people we serve, with the people we serve. So thank you.
You're welcome.
You're going to be back.
I'll be back tomorrow at 7 a.m.
Okay, and who knows, maybe even before that, we might pull you in for a reason. Okay. Well, thank you.
All right, Jeff, good luck.
And I think we're going to be moving on to our next our next folks.
All right.
So come on in. Hi, Robin.
Hi,
you want
Jeff.
to?
How are you?
Good. Come on.
This is Danny, right?
Hi.
Hi,
And
Danny.
we wanted to take some video of you
Okay, awesome.
and describing
Okay.
everything.
Yes, tell us about it.
So we're
I'll
gonna
roll that one.
we're-
You know you got one.
we're gonna do a couple of things. Can you sit down so you can
Oh,
be
sure.
so you
I'm
can
gonna
be
be in on
mic'd
this?
and you're gonna
Yeah.
be well, absolutely.
All right.
So Danny, who the heck are you?
It's a great question. Oh, you think I would know how to use one of these?
My guess is that you've been in you've been
No.
behind a mic in the past.
Yeah, as recently as this morning. Yeah, I do the morning show on 97.7 The River.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So glad you're here.
Well, thank you for having me.
So we have a relationship with your radio station and
Yes.
with your sister radio stations.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that relationship to your knowledge?
Sure.
You're
I'm
looking
going
at-
to
you're
have
looking at
Robin
friend
help me
Robin.
with some of the details on that.
So we'll bring you
Robin,
in here.
why don't you come in?
This is Robin Sheldrake, who we have worked with for years, and who helps us in our partnership with several radio stations, with The River, with KZST, with KSRO, with
All of them.
all
Yeah,
of
it's
them.
a lot of them.
Yeah,
There's a lot of them. There's a lot of
and
them.
so we have this relationship, and a lot of what we do is around the holiday season, where the radio stations help us provide turkeys to about 1,000 families who come to the fairgrounds and receive food boxes and receive meals, and it's been a wonderful partnership that we've had. But what brings you down here today, Danny? What?
Well, we wanted to get the word out with you on
Okay.
what you're doing here today. It's really fascinating. And we just learned that this is something that's going on around the country, which I did not know until we got here. So, we were going to shoot some video ourselves and post it on our social media and, help promote what you're doing out here.
Okay. Well, I'm going to put you on the spot.
Okay.
You live in this community. You work in this community.
Yes.
You see the challenges that we face. I'm guessing that homelessness is something that has not been, homelessness is something that you have seen and you've experienced, and you've encountered people on the streets, and you have those questions. What are some of your experience and some of your concerns related to homelessness in our community?
Well, I've been fortunate not to be homeless, but that's only because I've known people that have put me up in times where I've had hard times. In fact, my mother and I were evicted out of our apartment when I was 17, 18. So I was lucky enough, like I said, to have people that I could couch surf and crash on their floors and things like that. But having that experience and having been in radio so long and being a part of the community so long, I do know that this is an important issue. And I just people seem to kind of forget the human element of it all. Everyone sees, I don't want to go here, there's homeless people, there's crime, it's dirty, whatever. And a lot of people seem to forget the human element of it. And I think that's something that we should really remember.
Absolutely, that's the essence of it.
Yeah.
My wife often says we talk about a homeless problem or a homeless crisis. We don't look at that. We want to serve people who are homeless. We want to serve people.
Right.
And the human element of that cannot be lost. Your experience, though, as a teenager, is a great example of those things that we understand are the solution. Some people say, well, oh gosh, they're couch surfing. That was a solution for
That's
you.
a solution.
That wasn't
Yeah.
that wasn't the problem. That was a solution. We
Right.
think that relationships with community, with people there that we can turn to in a time of crisis, are so important. The people that we serve are so often people who don't have a place to go because they don't have a place to go.
Right.
They come to us because there is nowhere else to turn. If I in our chapel service, if I asked the question, and I have asked the question from time to time, if you had someplace else to go, how many of you would rather be there than here? And I'm not saddened by every hand going up, in the sense that I don't feel bad that they don't want to be here.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Because I would far rather they have someplace healthy, someplace else to go that is supportive and caring. And it's our goal over the next 24 hours to let people know that that's our mission. Our mission is to help people who have no healthy relationships to develop healthy relationships. And we believe there are 3 relationships that people need to get healthy with. One is a relationship with God. One is a relationship with themselves, because a lot of us who struggle with life on life's terms have a marred relationship of ourselves, and certainly a healthy relationship with others, a supportive system that in a time of crisis that we can turn to and find hope and lasting help. So we appreciate what you're doing by coming down here and helping to promote that.
Of course.
Anything that you want to do, want to add, want to talk to us about?
Yeah, actually, I think, I wish I was recording just now, because you gave the whole spiel that I kind of wanted you to do.
It's okay. I can do that. I can do that
you
again.
Might, you know it by
won't
heart?
mind about that.
All right,
Yes.
Okay. I was going to... the whole time I'm sitting there going, man, this is really good.
I
wish I was recording this. I swear I'm a broadcast professional.
Yeah, like what you just did was what we would like to kind of record.
Yeah.
Okay.
And put on all of our Facebook pages and wherever we can.
So let's do something if we can. I've got my producer here in front of me. If Trey, if you would like to pull up kind of the next video in the loop, let's put on a video, and then I'll spend a little time with our friends at the river,
that works.
And we'll see what we can do with that. But so let's pull up a video here.
It's just amazing that you have the doors open for chapel, and you never know. I was the last person that we'd ever say would accept Christ or wanted Christ in my life. I walked into chapel and I had an experience with God, and the seed was planted, and here at Redwood Gospel Mission in the chapel, and I just experienced the Lord here stronger than I had ever before. It's been an amazing journey. It's up and down, obviously, as we all know. Life is hard, but God, it's so much better than it used to be, and it's all thanks to God, right? But that initial seed was planted in chapel. That can happen to so many more, I believe.
You never know, no matter what your background is, when you can end up on the streets, and that's for real. I never thought me in a million years that I would be that one. Weirdly enough, I'm thankful for it. I really am thankful for it. It really changed my life. It changed my way of thinking.
First day when I got to the mission, I walked in and I seen a friend of mine I was in jail with back in 2001, and I just seen a glow from him, something I'd never seen before, and how happy he was and joyful he was. And I said, man, I want to be like that. That night and the next couple of days, I walked around and I asked all the other program members, should I join the program? Should I join the program? And they said, yeah, you won't regret it. Here I am, almost 7 years later, and I certainly don't regret it.
Life before I came to the mission was very difficult. I was addicted to drugs and alcohol. My addiction brought me to homelessness, despair, hopelessness, all the above you can imagine. Obviously not living a good, healthy lifestyle, getting in trouble, committing crime, and eventually going to jail. Prior to coming to the mission, I was in jail for about 8 months. I was homeless for about a year up in Cloverdale on the river, and I had an encampment up there with my dad. My addiction, from basically the age of 18 to 31 was a slow progression to homelessness. It was always bad, but I was able to either get sober briefly, or I'd go to jail for a minute and then come out and then kind of get my life back together and go back to work. My oldest daughter is now 18, but she was with me through all that, and so that was always a motivation for me to try and get better, but I just couldn't.
In 2017, I received a prison sentence. Prior to that, I had my own business, doing pretty good in life. Went to prison, Did 16 months, lost everything, got out with absolutely nothing. Literally the clothes on my back and a few dollars in my pocket. Really hopeless. I got out really hopeless. Ran into one of the staff members here, and he told me about the 30-day program that they had here. If I needed a place to sleep or needed somewhere to eat. So I decided to come over here. They asked me if I had a job, you know, things like that, and it was telling me about the TSP program. That night they gave me a bed. Luckily it was a bed open. They gave me a bed and kind of went from there.
I'd have to say my life before the mission was a very selfish life, drug-filled, filled with lots of incarceration, then homelessness, which eventually led me to the Redwood Gospel Mission. For somebody who hasn't experienced homelessness, I wouldn't call it camping. I'd call it surviving at its most difficult. Lonely nights, lonely cold nights, walking around in a daze, filled daze. October 31st, 2017, I got released from jail on pretrial release. I knew the next morning I was supposed to meet with my pretrial probation officer, Heidi Oliver. She asked me, "How are you gonna make it every week here to see me?" I said, "Well, I'll just camp out in the lobby like this guy over here." And she goes, "No, that won't be necessary." She goes, "I'm gonna call the Redwood Gospel Mission and see if I can get you a bed." She calls the mission. They say, "Send him on down, we got a bed for him." And until then, I'd never heard of the Redwood Gospel Mission or what they do. She described it as a homeless shelter, a place where I could get a bed and stay for 30 days.
Guest services is, one part hospitality, another part human services. One side of it is making sure that there's bedding and towels and shampoo and mats for people to sleep on and how many we have open and talking to the different agencies. And then the other side of it is getting them connected to those other agencies to help them find, permanent housing or to see if they're interested in going into one of our long-term programs, New Life or Transitional Savings Program. Our emergency guest beds are filled with men in our Transitional Savings Program. Often, those men who do that Transitional Savings Program and move out want to come back and give back and serve the guest. So, yeah, I'd say it's pretty impactful on them.
The guests who come in here have been out on the street. They've been out there all day. They have been searching for food, searching for shade when it's hot, someplace to stay warm in the winter and dry. They're hurting. They're broken, disconnected from their families. And so when they come in, generally they're hurting in some way. And we try to speak into that with the hope of Jesus Christ and the love of his saints.
I had known about the mission just from being on the street and, talking with people, and had been times where I got released in Santa Rosa from jail for a few nights, and I'd come here for a night, or my dad would do the same thing. So I knew I had a chance, because other times I wasn't ready to get sober. I didn't want to, but I knew this time when I got released, if I went back to Cloverdale, it would be bad. So I came here. The bus driver even let me on with no money or no bus ticket, and I put my name on the list, and then I think we ate dinner, and then we came back. At that point, still didn't even know if I was gonna get a mat, and then I ended up getting a mat, and I was here for 15 days. I believe my second night in chapel, I just had an experience with God that night, like nothing I've ever felt before. I can't explain it. I just hit my knees and I broke down, and they came to me, or they asked me, "Do you want to accept Christ?" Because they kind of felt what was going on. And I said, "Yeah." And I walked up to them, they prayed over me, and in that moment too, I can remember thinking, the second they were done, I just remember feeling like everything was going to be okay. And that was the lowest point in my life. Most people say, "Hey, you're sleeping on a mat in a homeless shelter, like your life's not going too good." But man, I felt like my life was going good, because I knew everything was going to be okay.
Week prior to my 30 days being up, I left here about 5:45, walking down the street, went to the drop-in center, had some coffee, was walking back here just kind of hopeless, and I told you, I felt something over my body. It was a weird experience, but it was kind of like relief. It was serious relief. I was no longer stressed. Shortly after that, an instant oil change place called me for actually a higher position. Close by here, I could walk. So I decided to do that. And I probably did that for probably about 3 years. About 3 years.
We believe that the spiritual welfare of our guests and our programmers is every bit as important as their physical welfare, and that they know Jesus Christ as their Lord and their Savior, and a God who loves them, who cares about them, is ever so important to us. We want to communicate that to those we serve.
The people who come in here are our guests. We don't look at them as a burden. We look at them as our reason for existing. A lot of people, when they come in here, they think that we're just a soup kitchen. It's just a place to get food. Or some people think, it's just food and, a flop shelter or something. But it's not that. It's a place where transformation really happens.
Really work, you have to be kind of in a stable position. It allowed me to come here, take showers, have a safe place mainly to stay and kind of prepare for the next day, for work, food. They even got lunches. It was a great program to allow me to save money. The biggest thing, and I felt like I was kind of rejecting it at first, I was just kind of like, why do I have to go to church every Sunday? Why do I have to do this homework? Why do I have to, I didn't understand it, but I think the biggest thing was it allowed for me to receive the Lord in my life, to actually take it serious, to actually understand what it was and how I felt, and just kind of be led by the Lord. It was life-changing experience, most definitely.
I knew I just accepted the Lord, and I was already feeling like, okay, God, what do I do next? I don't even know how to pray. I don't know, what all this stuff means, but I know God's real, and I feel it in my heart that something's going on, and it's different, and I have hope. Relationships, experiences, I knew this was a safe place. That's what got me here, and then God did the work, When I first accepted Christ, the worship in church, it still gets me, but that first year I was just like, any song, come on, man, I just break down. And it was just like God cleansing my soul, I felt, through music.
After asking everybody if I should join the New Life program, I decided I'm gonna join. I signed up, and I was in, and I became a candidate for 30 days. And going through the New Life program introduced me to Jesus and the joy that Jesus brings into your heart. And it also introduced me to not being selfish and to help myself through helping others. And I felt like I was a part of something, and that just grew every day. And the more the things that we did to help the guests, the more that my life grew, and I got blessed more and more. I felt safe, and it was so nice to get clean clothes, to get hygiene items, and take a shower before bed, and have a nice bed with sheets and a pillow, and a camaraderie of men.
This is more than a soup kitchen. When I was first given an orientation to all the things that Redwood Gospel Mission does, I think my mouth was agape most of the tour. There's so many things that RGM does. This is a place where a lot of transformation takes place, where lives are changed and redirected and given hope. What a joy it is to be a part of that.
I see it every week, Thursday night, the change in these men's life, from New Life. You can see it in their eyes. Their life changes. They change. And it's just an amazing thing to be a part of and witness, and that in itself shows you how much more the mission does than just feed people. If I would have got on that bus after being released from the farm and went to Cloverdale instead of coming to the mission to get a place to sleep and eat, my life would look nothing like it does today. I'm confident in that. It's just that small little decision. If it wasn't for those doors being open and me getting a mat that night, I wouldn't have had this second chance at my life. I used to have no hope, at least that last year before I came here. I had zero, and I do today. So.
Praise God.
Praise God.
Even through the hard times, man, I enjoy life. A lot much more than I did a few years back. I was really hopeless. I've always had from what people say, kind of an open, bubbly personality, cool, and I was down. And I was just like, man, I'm just down. Never a little angry, snappy at people, and never was like that. But, You know, I was able to get my personality back.
I like my life now. I like myself now. Before that, I didn't. I was on a crash course to death. Now, you know, I love being sober. I love being who I am. I love representing the RGM. I still have a coach from my program times. I got a mentor. You know, I got a relationship with my church, my co-workers. I'm trying to inspire others. Things are good.
Say it.
Praise Jesus.
Conversations on the bench. Hey, look, there we are.
So welcome, welcome back. I hope and trust that that video was a great blessing for you. The people in that video are friends of mine, and they are delightful trophies of the grace of God, who brings hope and healing and transformation and restoration to families, to lives. And so we're thrilled to be able to share those videos with you, as well as share the conversations that we're having. And I'm joined right now by my friend Jim Mortensen. And I've known Jim for, my goodness, 32 years that Jim and I have known each other. And Jim is involved with the mission in a variety of capacities. Over the years, has been an amazing volunteer, and even now has stepped up in the last year or so. Has served a little more than a year. Has served on our board of directors, and is. But the reason really I wanted to have you come is you are very involved in one of the most one of the most amazing ministries that we participate with, and that is the Redwood Gospel Missions Entertaining Angels Ministry, which is a nomadic shelter. We work with currently about 25 churches, hoping to grow that to about 30 churches, and we bring some of our homeless guests to a church each night, a different church each night throughout the month from November 1st this year until the end of March. And we've been having a week of training for churches, and you came to our event last night. And so tell us a little bit about your involvement with Redwood Gospel Mission initially, and about how that ministry has grown, and specifically share with us, you know, some of your experiences with Nomadic Shelter, with our Entertaining Angels.
And I give all the glory to God, 100%. So how it started, one, we go way back, but we were never doing anything. You know, we would support from afar, but something happened in our lives that made us a little different, and that was the loss of our daughter. Mm-hmm. She was 26 years old, and we lost her unexpectedly. She left behind, at the time, an 8-year-old granddaughter of mine, and we had no joy. And we were going through the different phases of grief. We know that we're going to see our daughter again. And my wife, Teresa, she says, hey, let's go down to the mission and help out. And I said, that sounds great. And long and short, after we helped serve, we felt something that we had not felt for a long time, and that was joy.
Wow.
By helping others, that started a healing process for us personally, and we loved the joy so much we kept coming back for more. And so we just, whenever somebody would say, hey, we need some help, sure, Absolutely. And different people through the mission would call us and say, hey, can you help us do this? Can you help us do that? I was like, yeah, sure. You know, as long as we were available, absolutely. And long and short, that got into what we were at a fellowship, and they we were looking at doing the nomadic shelter at our church because we saw what was going on. And again, once the 6th Street place is full of guys, and other people come for that evening and there's no room, somebody, whoever this was, that came up with the great idea for entertaining angels, I presume it might have been you, but anyhow, and that is to facilitate a place to sleep and a meal for the people that are out on the street with no place to go, that show up here at the mission for help, and instead of turning them away, we basically say, hey, we have this program, and I'm sure they can't be out of their mind on drugs or alcohol, so they're very, very well vetted. And then they go, hey, we'll give you a mat, we'll give you a place to sleep, a warm place to sleep, we'll give you a meal, but we're going to do it remotely. And then basically the Redwood Gospel Mission has partnered with all the local churches, and some of them have taken on one night and some 2 nights, to actually, the vans show up, all the people that are there help carry in the mats. They kept carrying the new sheets. They do the sheets all the time. And then the church is actually providing the meal. The meal happens first, and then they come in and sleep. And just talking with some of these people, it has been a huge blessing, because by the grace of God, we would be in 2 different each other's positions, but we're in a position to help, so we help. And I don't want to keep...
No. I'm interested in your story.
Yeah, so one of the first times, there's a guy named Barry. And I think he's going to be coming tonight, if I'm not mistaken. I think at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
I was talking with Matt. I'm sorry if I ruined the surprise, but Barry, here's this elderly guy. He only had his truck, no place to go. He started participating in the nomadic, and that's where I met Barry. And long and short, through getting some help through some of the people here at the mission, they said, well, were you a vet? And he goes, yeah, but I was dishonorably discharged. And they go, well, let's just reach out to these people and just see what's going on. So they reached out to the military. I don't know which branch that was, maybe you know. And they go, hey, we're going to review your case because things don't look right. And so they reviewed the case, and it came back that it was wrong what they did to him. They kind of railroaded him and skirted him along, but no. And then they come back and they said, okay, hey, you're eligible for benefits. You're eligible for housing, and praise God, he has an apartment in a facility, a veterans home. And then they were reevaluating something else, and it came back that there was something else that was done wrong, and okay, now you're going to get this much per month. So this is a huge blessing, and he's totally given glory to God. And what happened was the place that he lives at, they go, well, you can only make so much, and now he was over that tier. And so now he's going to have to start looking for a new place to live. So he's praying, we're praying. And long and short, we'll just say that everything worked out fine. I don't want to get anybody in trouble. I have to be careful here. But everything worked out fine. One thing that he does is when he was here at the mission for a period of time, one thing he wished you had was ice cream sandwiches. So once a month, he comes with ice cream sandwiches and gives it to the people that are here. And so that's just one of a number of testimonies that we've seen and heard. And I would encourage anybody out there to come to one of our banquets. They usually have a testimony, and you would literally cry at the situation that these people were in, and then how through the light of Jesus Christ, their life was turned, and then blessings fell.
One of the themes that has been coming up as we've just started this 24-hour marathon, is how relationships are so key, both dysfunctional or lack of relationships, so key to the cause of homelessness, but relationships so key to the answer to homelessness. And those relationships are with people in our communities, in our churches, and you've developed actually relationships with people who are homeless, and you've been instrumental in helping people experience freedom from homelessness as well through relationships. Barry is a classic example. He was alone in this world. He was living in his truck, and he'll share a story later, but was suicidal. He was going to commit suicide, and ended up coming to Redwood Gospel Mission. He was encouraged to reach out to Tina, who at that time was the manager of our nomadic shelter program, and that's how he got involved in working with the churches. Today, he's in church, and you are kind of helping him a little bit with some business stuff, right?
Well, yes. Barry and I were talking one night when we decided to play bingo, and I didn't want to play bingo, and neither did Barry. And we're just talking, we're just fellowshipping, and Barry mentioned that he likes to do art. I like to do art, and Barry started showing me some of his art, and I go, Barry, that's some really cool stuff. And I said, your patterns, and I forget the name that he calls his pattern, but it's a repeating pattern that he does. And I said, this would look great on a shirt. Matter of fact, I should have worn one of the shirts, because what I did is I then took the art. I said, well, let's get it trademarked, copyrighted, whatever. And then that way, if anything were to come of it, then you'd be blessed. And he goes, I want everything to go to the Gospel Mission. Whatever we make, I want it to go to the Gospel Mission. So we've made up some shirts. Matter of fact, I might be able to pull up some pictures here real quick, because I got a file on Barry in my phone. What are the odds of that, right? So albums, and then Barry art is right here. So I don't know if I can show this into the camera or not.
So we've got a little camera here. We can plug it into.
So let's see.
There we go.
So that's one of his artwork that he had done, and then basically we took that art and we did this. So the shirt, I hope you could see that, but basically his patterns, because they continue, we just did that with a number of them, and we've sold a number of shirts, and we probably, he'd like to have a manufacturer do it and all that other stuff. What I've been doing is working with China now with the tariffs. That's really, now it's $30 shipping on each one, which is ridiculous. Yeah. But hopefully something will continue from that. I made socks, shorts, shirts, and Barry wanted long sleeve shirts, so we made him some long sleeve shirts.
So the two of you started a business, but it was Barry's insistence that this is a social enterprise, that he wanted this business to be a blessing to others, to go all to the ministries of Redwood Gospel Mission.
Specifically, amazing. He goes, anything and everything to go to the Redwood Gospel Mission. I go, right on, absolutely. So hopefully we could progress that and maybe get him into one of our two stores, the one in Roanoke Park and the one in Santa Rosa off Piner. Matter of fact, I went to the store yesterday for the first time down in Roanoke Park.
Okay. So you're also involved in some of our outreach events. You've in fact, a lot of our outreach events. You are going to be involved at our Great Thanksgiving Banquet coming up. What do you do at our Great Thanksgiving Banquet?
Again, if you people out there want to feel some joy, come and serve just a little bit with the mission. And a good way to start off is coming out when we do the packing for all the things we collect from the churches. So what we do is we reach out to the churches. This year, my wife has taken on 900 boxes of stovetop stuffing. And they need 1,200, and I think we're going to try to push for that. Another church would do gravy packets. Another church would do canned yams. And then another church would do marshmallows. And so they would do this drive, bring it down to the mission, and then on a particular Saturday, we'll meet at the fairgrounds, and then we'll have all these items and all the bags all over the place. It's a giant mess. We have everybody go grab a bag and put each of the items in a category on a table. So all the yams would be on one table, all the stuffing on one table. So after we finish that, then everybody grabs a bag, and then we start packing for the bag that we give away with the turkey that the mission gives to the people. And then basically they're walking down these aisles, and I usually stand at the stovetop stuffing thing anyway. And I have two in my hand. They go walking by. Some guys will do 2 bags. Some will do 4. And I'm like, okay. And I, as fast as I can, as they continue to walk by, everybody drops it in. Each of the bags is then put in a giant container and waiting for our Thanksgiving banquet. And then the people come. They hear a small message about salvation and how we're the only religion that everybody's trying to go to God, and we're the only religion that God came to us. Yeah. And it's a free gift. We don't have to earn anything. So that's the beautiful thing. They share that little thing, and we're good. So anyhow, I'm sorry.
No, it's awesome. I for anybody that wants to come and celebrate Thanksgiving with 5,000 of our closest friends,
Yes.
You're welcome to come on down to check out rgm.org, and you'll see links to our great Thanksgiving banquet.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's a wonderful experience.
It's a beautiful thing. There's other ways to serve, and I've told everybody, if everybody just did a little teeny bit, just one little thing, it all works out. And this is just one little thing that you could do if you want to start someplace. And then who knows, you might be here serving, you might be here giving a message, you might be a greeter at one of the events, you might just be some person that gives somebody directions on where they go on the fairgrounds. There's all sorts of opportunities, whatever your comfort level is.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your love for the people that we serve. Thank you for the role that God has used in your life. The mission of the Redwood Gospel Mission, you are well aware as a board member and as somebody who's been involved with us, is that in the grace and power of Jesus Christ, the Redwood Gospel Mission mobilizes our community to minister to people in need so that lives are transformed. And I think you are a testimony that it's not just the lives of the people that we serve who are transformed, but you experience that
Yes.
transformation
Yes.
from grief, and it's a profound grief, and you have not, you still grieve the loss of your daughter, but what you experienced out of that grief
Yes.
was a joy
Yes.
that was palpable, that you could
Yes.
communicate to others and invite others to participate in.
100%. And I'll leave you with this. When you're going through tough times, and whatever that is in your head, whatever you're struggling through, the Bible's really clear. Start praising and giving glory to God, because you can't do both.
Right.
You can't concentrate on your problem, and the Lord's going to take care of you. The Lord's going to take care of it in whatever His way is. And anyhow, that's it. So anyhow, I'll let you get back to having fun.
And I also want to say thank you, because I was a man sitting on the street, and you came by and brought In and Out to me.
Yes.
That's a great blessing. That has happened with a lot of people who have been on the streets, and somebody has come by and brought them a bag of In and Out burgers, and so thank you for that. So I get to eat something instead of just talking all the time. So God bless you for
God bless
that.
you. Take care.
Okay.
We'll see you later.
Thank you.
Take care, brother.
Okay. Well, this is so encouraging for me. I'm just buoyed by this whole thing. We have lots of conversations that have happened, and it looks like we've got another conversation that's going to happen. Deborah, come in and sit down.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi.
This is from Kenzie. Unfortunately, she put milk in it.
Milk is fine.
Okay.
I'm good with milk.
Okay, good.
Is this a?
It's an espresso.
Is this a espresso or cappuccino? It's just espresso.
It's espresso with milk. Something to get you going.
I'm good with espresso with milk. Some of you may know that Redwood Gospel Mission has a coffee roastery, Redwood Gospel Coffee, and it's Redwood Gospel Coffee Company is a great program. So I'm stealing from your time, but I'll let you know, folks, that Redwood Gospel Coffee was started in I think 2015. And when we started Redwood Gospel Coffee, we had 3 goals. One was to provide meaningful training for men and women in recovery. The second goal was to provide a relationship with people in countries where there is poverty, to help them have a sustainable income through coffee, through a direct trade program. And the third was to increase the reputation of church coffee. So I think we're working on all 3 of those things, and a lot of the churches that participate with us, I think currently there are 35 churches that are participating with us, and those churches are have had an increase in the reputation of church coffee because we offer single origin specialty coffee, as well as blends of coffee that improve the taste of coffee for people at the coffee hour at church. So if your church isn't participating, now's your time to go hound the powers that be and let them know that Redwood Gospel Coffee beats big giant green mermaids any day of the week. So
anyway, Jeff, this is really interesting and fun. And
make sure you have the microphone in front of you, so that you, because people want to hear what you have to say, because what you have to say is important.
Okay.
So
I'll move over a little bit.
So there you go. Deborah Metzler, I'm so glad that you're sitting here having a conversation with me.
Yeah.
What on earth do you do at Redwood Gospel Mission?
Well, I am the program manager at the family campus.
Okay.
And I primarily work with volunteers and the program itself to provide opportunities for the body of Christ to actually speak into the lives of the women and children and families that are at the family campus.
Awesome. So you've been serving in that capacity for a number of years. You came to us originally assisting in a ministry that was called
Manna Home.
Manna Home.
Yes, was for women. We weren't able to have children. We weren't really structured for the women to have their children with them. So this has been a great opportunity to have women have their children while they're being transformed.
And so Manna Home, when you came initially, was a home that was on Dennis Lane.
Yes, Dennis Lane.
And we had a potential capacity for up to 14 women.
That's right.
Yes. Although that was 14 women who, were squeezed into a little house all together.
That's right.
Sharing a couple of restrooms.
2 bathrooms and 4. Well, it was. We relatively usually had about 12 women, because when we went over 12, it was the tipping point for bathroom usage.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but we made it work.
And now, by God's grace, that the capacity that we have through some amazing people, through some wonderful donors,
yes,
through a miracle of God's provision and timing, we now have capacity for up to 63 women and families to come to us.
Yes, that many people.
Yeah, so it's a growing ministry, which meant that your role had to grow significantly. So you are working with currently about how many volunteers are you
I
working
think about
with?
26 volunteers, primarily coaches who are accountability partners slash case managers that are volunteers, and then class facilitators.
And how many classes are being offered each day at the family campus? As I put you on the spot.
Okay, so 3 classes, 4 days a week is 24 classes a day. Because we have 2 groups of women. Some of them are in class in the afternoons and some are in class in the mornings. And they go to class from 9 to noon, 3 classes, Monday through Thursday.
So we have some that go through 9 to noon and others that go from
1
2
to 4.
to 1 to 4.
Yeah.
1 to 4 in the afternoon. And so we've got a lot of things going on. It's a lot of balls in the air, a lot of moving pieces.
Yes,
and
sir.
so you have a great responsibility, and you've grown into that responsibility. So you're working with dozens of volunteers, and
yes,
and they are an incredible blessing, aren't they?
They are amazing women. I am so grateful, filled with gratitude that I get to work with these women who are on fire for the Lord, number one, but also on fire to actually be a part of the transformation of lives, and that are actually working one-on-one. The coaches working one-on-one with these women during their time while they're in the program, approximately 13 months, to kind of navigate this change in their life, and in whatever helpful ways they can. We have a structure, but they're primarily walking with them to show them how it's done. We model behaviors where we're at so that people learn through modeling, and we also have instruction in the Word of God, and also easy to follow instructions on how to do things.
Awesome.
So, but the teachers as well, we have many wonderful women that they're dedicated to teaching these women life skills and recovery skills, and also what the Word of God says about who they are and who He is and what life has to hold for them.
Awesome. So, but you also have your own story as well.
I do.
You didn't just drop down out of the sky and showed up to Redwood Gospel Mission.
No, I did not.
Tell us a little bit about your journey to Christ, your journey in life.
So I am in recovery as well. I started using drugs and alcohol. I was born in 1955 and I started high school in 1969. So when the whole free love, drugs and alcohol and everything that you can ask for was happening at once. Mm-hmm. So I basically got lost in that culture, managed to get jobs and work and stuff like that, but I quit high school 3 times and ended up going to adult school to get my GED because I had too much pride to have to go back to school another year to get my high school diploma. But my trajectory, I was a miserable human being, and the Lord struck me sober on September 23rd, 1993. And so by the grace of God, I have just experienced 32 years of recovery.
Glory to God.
Yeah, so that's amazing. So my trajectory, I spent, in my 20s, I spent about 2 years hiding in a church. Not literally like hiding in a church, like I was sleeping there, but my boyfriend's family were Seventh-day Adventists, and I went to church with them, and there were some godly people there that were actually talking about Jesus Christ. So I got this pre-introduction to who Christ was. When I broke up with that guy, I broke up with that church, and I went right back to the lifestyle I had been living before. And so another decade went by, and I hit my bottom, and I started going to 12-step meetings, and I'd always believed in God. I'm pretty sure I always knew that that Jesus and the Holy Spirit and God were one, but I had zero education in that. And so I guess I crept up on Jesus. I kind of like the story of the woman that was bleeding and basically touched the hem of his garment, because that was what I felt like I did. I crept up on Jesus from behind because I wouldn't feel like I could approach him fully face to face. So about 10 years into my recovery, I decided I tapped out spiritually and I started praying for a church. I was a massage therapist. God put a pastor from a church on my table who was a woman in charge of a women's ministry that was a 12-step ministry at her church. And we shared stories, and she told me that she had been praying for someone with 12-step experience, and I had been praying for a church. So it was a godly appointment, and that's kind of how my trajectory came back to the Lord. In the meantime, I decided my body was telling me that I could no longer do massage therapy, and I had to figure out what I was going to do, so I decided to go back to school and become a drug and alcohol counselor. Started praying heavily that I wanted to be in a church, and I wanted to be doing something where I could openly talk about the Lord Jesus in my recovery and in talking to other people about recovery. And I just happened to have known somebody that had been at Manahome, so I called and they said, come on over and volunteer, and that's how I got started as a volunteer. I started out as a prayer partner, and then I was I taught anger management. I was a class teacher. So, and then the rest is history.
Awesome. So you came on board. First, you came on board as an assistant.
I came in as a case manager.
As case manager, and and at some point you graduated into the role of the program manager.
I did.
And we've gone through a few changes since then, and a lot of growth. And
I would say, yes.
And your whole role of drug and alcohol counseling, basically what you are is a teacher to the facilitators. So you're
Yes.
a teacher to the mentors, a teacher to the coaches, a teacher to the teachers.
Yes.
And so you help them grow in their ability
Yes.
to impact people's lives.
Yes, God graciously equipped me with a testimony and an education. So I'm able to use both of them, and also spiritual gifts, basically of teaching, because that's kind of like my thing.
Okay.
So I can't stop doing it.
Awesome. So
anyway.
well, God bless you. So, let me, because we developed the theme. You haven't gotten to hear the theme, but I'm guessing something's going to come about that is going to be consistent with what we've heard. Women come through through our ministry, and some of them experience profound transformation.
Yes.
Some of them will continue to struggle.
Yes.
But there are some principles that you've seen with those who find real success. What are some of the keys that you see that bring about lasting recovery, lasting change in the lives of the women? What are some of those keys that we seek to instill in the lives of people and provide for people that help them experience lasting change?
Well, I would have to say that some of those principles actually are kind of outlined in the 12 steps, is that we have to come to a point where we actually admit to ourselves that we actually have a problem that needs addressing, and that our lives are unmanageable. And then we have to come to believe that there is a power greater than ourselves that can restore us to sanity. So we have to be able to give up relying on our own strength or the strength of other people. That other people can't make us well, and that we can't heal ourselves. It is interesting that we think that what we're dealing with is spiritual, emotional, and mental damage, but we think that we can actually help fix a problem with a broken part, which would be the brain, in which our soul, spirit, everything, all the thing combined together. So we can't really think our way out of it. We have to actually have help that's of a supernatural level. And so once we get to that place where we actually realize that we need a power greater than ourselves, we hope at the Redwood Gospel Mission that you will accept Jesus' offer of salvation, so that you can have his power and his healing power. And then the next principle is that we actually start to take an inventory of ourselves. We actually do the work of looking in and giving the Lord an opportunity to heal us and to enlighten us as to where we've got distorted thinking or beliefs, and how we have, and the trajectory that we've hit. We can start to see, oh, okay, I can see why that thing in the past is a part of my present, and how do I disentangle myself from that? So we focus on, at our program, we actually focus on the Word of God, the Bible. We have Bible studies, we have life skills classes, and we also have recovery classes. So the life skills classes we recognize that most of us don't have really great life skills. So we actually have classes that actually equip the women with skill sets that are from the Lord, from the Bible, that are practical skills like communication, anger management, conflict resolution, boundaries, codependency, financial skills. We even have a woman who actually is a dietitian who actually teaches nutrition and actually is in charge right now, is on fire for their garden and getting things growing back there so people can learn how to grow vegetables and eat healthy food. And we have recovery classes, so people are required to be in a 12-step program, so they have to have a life controlling issue that's 12-steppable. And then they work with a sponsor, and we have classes that kind of like blend with that, teaching them the steps and how they're practical. And then we also have the Bible classes, so people kind of learn about who God is and what he says.
Awesome. So you've addressed a couple of those principles that have come up again in the themes that at Redwood Gospel Mission. Really, we recognize that our brokenness, it comes in three forms, and one is that we have a broken relationship with God,
right?
And then we have a broken relationship with ourselves, and then we have a broken relationship with others. And so many of the people that have come to Manahome and now to the family campus have nowhere else to go. They're in a place where they have broken all of their family relationships. What do they leave with in relationally?
Well, Jeff, thank you for bringing that up, because that's a big gaping hole in what I just described. One of the biggest gifts that we have. Oh, sorry about that.
That's okay.
We have disruption. We have one of the biggest gifts we give the women is that we help them plug themselves into communities. First of all, we actually have them plug themselves into a recovery community and a church community. And with the skill sets they learn, everything that we're doing is applied in their relationships, so that they can actually have reconciliation with families quite often, and that also they learn how to be a part of. So it's hard to fall all the way to homelessness when you're surrounded by people who care about you and are there to catch you before you actually hit the ground. I always think of it, the tighter you're packed in with people, if you lose your balance, you're just going to fall on somebody and they're going to push you back up.
I think it was Solomon that says, if one falls down, his friend can help him up, but pity the man who falls and has no one to help him up.
That's right. So the ones that do extremely well are the ones that when they leave the program, they have inserted themselves successfully into a community. They have support, they have friends, they have people that care about them, they care about others, they're now giving to others, they're actually participating in being reciprocal, and that continue on as they leave the program. They continue to grow and mature into their community.
Okay, awesome. So that kind of fulfills that those people who are experiencing long-term success are
Yes.
people who are growing in their right relationship with God.
Yes, and with themselves.
And a right relationship with themselves, and a right relationship with that supportive community.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, God bless you. Thank you for being here. Anything that you want to add? Is there anything, are there testimonies that really stand out to you that you would like to share with those who are watching of what you've experienced that give you great encouragement?
Okay, I think I'm going to testify about my friend Tracy, who I was actually her sponsor 25 years ago, and I got to witness her repeated struggle with being part of community. She really was an amazing woman from the get-go, and was a Christian, and actually I think she knows people from every church in Sonoma County because she bounced.
Yeah.
She moved, she just kept moving. She never became a real part of anything. And actually, in right about the time of the fires, she was trying to get into Manahome, and where there wasn't a bed, and then there was. And I just happened to run into her on the street and said, if you want to come in, you can come in now. And she came in and she did the program, and she was transformed. I mean, the things that were broken, she actually worked on. And she actually now she's got 7 years.
Glory to God.
Yeah,
Glory
I'm
to God.
so excited. And she's like an amazing woman now. And she's a part of a church. She's actually giving back to community. She's using the skills that she learned in our program, self-evaluation and how to have a boundary, and also, but to reconcile with people, to speak in love. So she's an asset to her community at this point in time.
Amen.
Yeah.
And she's just one of many.
Yes.
We were so blessed to have a reunion of
Yes.
some of our
alumni.
And we had people that came back from the 90s
Yes.
who came to be with us for that celebration,
and came all the way from Grass Valley to
Grass
actually,
Valley
to
or
kind
Napa or a variety of places.
So very cool. I'm just so excited. I mean, I see transformation happen every day. So I'm very grateful for the opportunity to actually watch God at work. You know, it's an amazing blessing to be a part of something like this as a staff person, but also as a volunteer, because you get to actually, you know, it's like you can see God because you can see the wind because you can see the grass blowing. So it's like the grass blowing. I get to watch God actively insert himself into people's life and do miraculous transformational work, and the healing that is necessary, that just changes people from now, you know, all that potential that God gave them is now useful, and they are a part of the community, and
you've
blessing to us all.
You've had personally a number of people that have been really instrumental in your life. You've had a long-time sponsor and friend that has been instrumental in your life. How long has she been your
well,
sponsor?
we're mostly like friends now, but from 2000, let's see, what is it, 1995, she started out as my sponsor in 95.
Wow.
Yeah. So we've had a long-term relationship.
So those long-term relationships are incredibly valuable.
They are.
And you've had that, you know, both with her and then with other people as a part of your church.
Yes, and I've actually learned through the Redwood Gospel Mission and 12-Step to actually that I need a mentor. So I actually have a mentor from my church now who's not a 12-Step sponsor, but we've actually done work that's actually, I feel like it's a bump up through the Biblical Counseling Federation that we did. Like, self-confrontation.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
So I've actually have somebody that I actually apply, is like a sponsor.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for being here and for the work that you're doing.
Well, thank you, Jeff, for doing this. This is amazing.
Any opportunities available at the family campus?
Yes, there are opportunities. We have openings. We are growing, and so the need for actual volunteers is always present. And anybody that wants to find out more about that can contact us, and we will meet together and talk about what you could do. We have coaching opportunities, class teacher opportunities, gardening opportunities. We can make up opportunities. We want you to be part of.
Okay.
Okay?
Awesome.
All
God
right.
bless
Thank you,
you.
Jeff.
Thank you. Well, we're just going to keep rocking here. I would like to welcome Christina here, and now I want you to pull the mic over so that people can actually hear you talk.
Hi.
But I am so thrilled that you are here. What is your involvement with Redwood Gospel Mission?
I am manager of guest services at the Women and Children's Shelter.
Wow. We have a women and children's shelter?
We do.
What's it called?
Rose Women and Children's
It's
Shelter.
called the Rose Women and Children's Shelter. So
Yeah.
I'm saying that because so some people know and others don't know that we were really blessed this in a year ago with the opportunity to purchase through the generosity of some amazing donors. We were able to purchase a facility that we call our family campus, and it expanded our ministry, and we were so excited about it. But because of that expansion, we temporarily had to close our women and children's shelter, and it was something that we were not we weren't sure that we were going to be able to restart, but we did restart.
We did.
And so you are serving in that capacity, but it wasn't the first capacity that you were in. I mean, you came to us at our family shelter, right?
I actually came to you at the nomadic shelter.
Yeah. Oh, the nomadic
in January,
shelter. Okay, that's right.
Yeah, this is my third.
Okay. So which is another ministry that we didn't think we were going to get to restart either, but we have.
Yeah,
And
indeed.
so now we've got all of our emergency shelters operational. But you served for a season in our family campus, helping women with a certificate program in maintenance and janitorial.
I
right?
did.
Okay.
I did. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And so you got to work directly with some of the women that were.
With the lake, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That was a blessing.
So
yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
So now you are managing the Rose Women and Children's Shelter, and we opened the doors and nobody came, right?
Not a one. Nope. In fact, we're almost full.
Isn't that amazing?
We're almost full on day 10.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a needed. It's definitely it's a needed ministry for sure.
But you didn't come to us just out of the blue, right? You have a story.
I have a story.
And a story that is your own personal story.
Right.
Would you mind sharing a little bit about your story?
I wouldn't mind at all.
Okay.
So I grew up in Bullhead City, Arizona. I was saved when I was 9 years old, and I'm the only person in my family that I know of, my family of origin, that was saved. Got involved in drugs and alcohol when I was 11, and had an on and off again. I've been kind of running away from and running back to the Lord my entire life. Went to prison. I had 2 children and went to prison when I was 24 years old. Got out when I was 27 and came to Sonoma County. I had 11 years of sobriety. Went to college and nursing school, and during that time I took a class at the JC called The History of God, which I wasn't really rooted in the Bible, and so it had an effect on me. And at 11 years of sobriety, I had been taking Norco for pain and ended up relapsing, which started 6 years of homelessness on the streets of Santa Rosa.
Wow.
So I was in and out of shelters, on and off the Joe Rodota bike trail. I lived under the 6th Street Bridge for a time. Been in and out of several of the shelters here, and yeah, so I have quite a history. I have my own history of homelessness and recovery. And so on June 17th of 2019, the Lord, he saved me. That was the last day that I used, and I ended up in ICU because of the way that I was using. And my daughter, my daughter had had a baby, and I wasn't allowed to see or touch him because of my addiction. And so my daughter came to visit me in the hospital, and my family has always been the most important thing to me. And because of my using, I didn't have that connection.
Right.
And I think that connection is God and connection are a huge part of recovery. God, self, and others are really a key to recovery.
Yeah.
At least for this addict.
Yeah.
And
which we would say for all addicts,
Right.
because I think that the steps remind us of that. That
Indeed.
the first 3 steps are a right relationship with God.
Right.
The next 3 steps, if you will, are right relation, or next 3 steps are right relationship with yourself.
Yeah.
And then the final steps are right relationship with others, right?
Giving back.
Giving back.
Indeed.
And I think that is such a significant thing that we all need to know. And your own experience is that you had a daughter who loved you.
Yeah.
But when you were in your addiction, you as you said, you didn't have that connection. You were estranged from her. She wasn't. You weren't safe for her.
Right.
And so she couldn't be that support for you.
Right.
And you found yourself on the street for years.
Right.
But in your recovery,
Yeah.
you've experienced now community relationships, healthy relationships. Tell me a little bit about that journey to recovery.
The journey through recovery. Well, the journey through recovery. Let's see. Initially, I stayed with my daughter and grandson and her family. And then I moved into a shelter in Petaluma, and then moved into a sober living environment, which I ended up managing for several years, and then became the women's director for a time. My daughter had another baby, so I'm a proud grandma of 2 grandchildren and mother of 3 children. We're very close now, which I'm very happy to say.
And through that clean and sober home, which is a kind of a sister ministry with us. You had connection with Redwood Gospel Mission.
Absolutely.
And you just couldn't stay away from us, right?
Indeed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we are thrilled to have you aboard.
Thank you, Jeff.
How does your personal experience inform your ministry to the women and children who are coming to the Rose?
How does my personal experience inform my ministry? Well, my personal experience is that I had to have a relationship with Jesus Christ first and foremost. That is my personal experience, is that comes first. And for me, I need to take care of my recovery. And so for me, I still go to 12-step meetings. I still work on my recovery, and church is also really important. And and loving on the ladies, just showing them through compassion, and meeting them where they're at every day,
Do you think that your own experience of homelessness gives you a depth of understanding of those who come?
100%. 100%. And then hopefully showing them, giving them a feeling of safety when they walk in the door, because I've been there.
Okay.
And knowing, like being out there every day, never knowing like where I'm going to sleep or what I'm going to eat. Just being able to open the doors and giving them some food and a safe place to sleep at night. Absolutely, 100%.
Wow.
So.
Well, God bless you.
Thank you.
You have a chance to do a little bit of promotion of your ministry. You don't need any help, right? You can do this all by yourself, right?
Not even a little bit. I can't do any of it by myself, Jeff. Yeah. We need other people.
Are there opportunities for volunteers to serve there?
Definitely.
What are some of the things that volunteers can do at the Rose?
Well, we need discipleship. We need help with discipleship right now. We really need ladies to come in and disciple with the ladies. We could just use ladies to come in and sit with them while they eat, just to care about them, just to minister to them, or just to be an ear.
Okay. And so, is there any kind of help or support or training that staff can provide for them as they come in?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
But that's a really great question. But yes, yes and no. I mean, but yes, you could absolutely come in. You could meet with me. Give me a call at the 578.
1830.
1830. Extension 300 is my phone number.
Or they can go online at rgm.org, and we can connect you with Tina, who is our volunteer coordinator, and she will connect you with Christina. There are great opportunities, and Christina would love to work with you in helping you to take those next steps, and you being a part of the solution.
Yeah.
So. Connection, relationship,
Absolutely.
Those things that are important.
Yes.
Okay,
Right.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being here. Anything you want to add?
Put me on the spot like that.
What?
Nope,
No.
I'm good.
Okay.
Thank
awesome.
you so much.
Okay, awesome. Blessings.
Right. Thank you.
Good job.
All right. Thanks, Jen.
Okay. Hi, Amanda.
Yes, so nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks for having me. Hi.
Well, thanks for being here and sitting on the bench with me.
Absolutely, it's my pleasure. Thanks for inviting me.
So, what brings you here besides an invitation?
Well, definitely the invitation. I'm so grateful that you reached out to me, and we love having you guys here in the neighborhood of Railroad Square. And so I've been here. I got a tour back before the new kitchen was done, and that looked really impressive. I know it's been finished for a while now, and so I love the opportunity of getting to know kind of what's going on down here. And obviously I work here and spend a lot of time here, and so just getting to know the mission better.
So let's talk about homelessness. That has no impact on Railroad Square at all, does it?
Just the tiniest bit.
So tell me about your own personal experience, your concerns, what you hear from others, and just kind of unpack that a little bit and tell us what, just your experience.
Sure. And actually, I have a question for you.
Sure.
Because, I, for years growing up, heard and used the term homeless. And then lately in the last few years, I've been hearing the term unhoused and different. And I would like to know, is this a politically correct leaning, or is there a preferred term for this population?
So that is, It doesn't matter.
Okay.
And this is why it doesn't matter. I'm an old guy. You can tell because I look old.
Okay.
And I've been serving in rescue mission work for 42 years, 43
Incredible.
years
Yeah.
actually, 43 years. And you know, names are attached to people. Back a long time ago, names that sound very pejorative, hobo,
Right. Sure.
bum, tramp,
Yep.
were names that were thrown around at those guys that you had images of that guy that rode the rails and would
Right.
hop off a boxcar with a
Yeah.
thing on his back. And those were, we understood that as a kind of part of our society, and they were given those names. Sometimes there was some folklore related to them, and the names were often associated with a lifestyle. You know, the bum came from somebody who would borrow or would beg of somebody. The tramp came from somebody who would move from place to place. And the hobo, and I know that there's some etymology of that, but it's those names that we had. And then after that, people thought, well, we'll get a little more in our own political correctness. We'll talk about transient people.
Okay. Sure.
And then the term homelessness actually was something that began to be developed as a description of individuals back in the 1980s, actually.
Okay.
And it was a way to identify a problem that was existing in our society, and people said that the problem was homelessness.
Yeah.
Well, over time, our unhoused neighbors, or whatever that terminology has come to be, was a way to get away from the word homeless becoming a pejorative term.
Right.
So anything we do will ultimately be turned into that pejorative as we use it a lot.
Right.
So when I say it doesn't matter from a macro level, in the sense that they all become pejorative terms. And that's a terrible thing, because our society talks about the problem of homelessness,
Right.
the crisis of homelessness, the impact of homelessness on our communities. And my wife says it's not about impact, it's not about problem, it's not about crisis, it's about people.
Sure.
And so our approach is it's about people. There isn't this monolithic thing called homelessness. There are a lot of individuals who struggle in a variety of different ways. And if you can give me a little leeway, our understanding from both my own personal experience, my years working in this field, and of the thousands of people I've known that have experienced freedom from their own problems of homelessness, that it's about relationship.
Yes. Okay.
And so it's not a housing issue, it's a home issue.
Okay.
And home is a supportive environment. It's a place where people go to be together with folks who love them.
Sure. Yes.
And so many of the people that we serve don't have a place to go. So our approach always has been a way to address those issues that cause broken relationships, that cause fracture in community, and to begin to work at healing those things. So we believe there are three key relationships that need to be healed: a relationship with God, a relationship with self.
Yes.
Because a lot of people have marred identities. They become identified by their circumstances or conditions or dress or addiction or whatever those things are. And then finally a relationship with others, and that when those things holistically get healed, those relationships are strengthened, and people find success. People who want to have long-term success are going to have long-term healthy relationships. People who don't have success are people who are going to be long-term isolated people. Solomon said, if one falls down, his friend can help him up, but pity the man who falls and has no one to help him up.
Sure.
And that's why Redwood Gospel Mission exists.
Okay.
So
that's beautiful, yeah.
To that end, how can we be a better neighbor in the community?
Oh, well, I mean, I think that you are already great neighbors, and I mean, to answer your initial questions, which I never ended up answering,
sorry.
and just what, no, I went off on a different question for you, but in terms of what we hear, feedback that we hear, and what I see, and things like that, on the subject of homelessness, you know, I think a lot of it, to kind of tack onto your wife's comment that you mentioned, you know, it's about people, and I think it's also about perception. And so, you know, from my little office window over there, I see people hanging out, sleeping in Depot Park especially, and sometimes usually out of office hours and in front of people's businesses and things. And so what I see are usually is someone who probably does not have somewhere else to go. And whether that's because I know resources have been cut, funding has been cut for certain places, so there might not be a place for them to go at that moment, a bed for them at that moment, and at that time of day or evening or whatever. And I think that from say a visitor's point of view, and I think this is anywhere, people just don't like to see it, right? And so
when you say your office, just to let folks know, you know, the thousands of people watching us at this moment, your office is at the visitor center.
Yes, my office is in the visitor center. I don't work for the visitor center, but the Railroad Square Association has an office in the visitor center, and that's where I work out of. So I look right out onto Depot Park and the parking lot there, and so I do see and hear quite a lot.
And your role is to coordinate, work with, support, help organize the businesses of Railroad Square, so that, because this is a really significant business and historic district, and the businesses that are there are really, you know, they want to be viable, they want to be successful, and any obstacles to being successful puts a lot of pressure on both them as individual businesses and collectively as the association.
Sure, yes.
And so you are there to help promote the association, to help support the association. You create events and other kinds of things that you do to draw attention to the businesses in the area.
Yes, to bring people to the district, and I always say my job is kind of a liaison between the board of directors and the businesses and the city of Santa Rosa, and making sure we're all, you know, on the same page, and bringing people to our district and our downtown Santa Rosa and giving them a good experience. And with that, there is a bit of a juggling of, you know, the kind of understanding, grace, humanity of understanding that there are going to be some homeless people, and then there are other ends of that where there are people who seem to be in distress, maybe mentally, maybe substance abuse and things like that do feel like more of a threat. Right, so it's perception. It's I think that people who are struggling with some of those latter issues create a sense of fear, especially if you're just a tourist coming to shop, because maybe that was an experience they had before. And so if they see someone perhaps just sleeping, just taking a nap in the park or something, which I've done that before, it's a nice sunny day and a patch of grass and a book, I'm happy. But then there is a sense of fear that's created, and then if there are, people, the business owner comes and there's someone sleeping there, then it becomes a little more of an issue. So that is my understanding is that's not your responsibility, because those aren't all those people aren't all coming from the Redwood Gospel Mission, right? And so there are a lot of different factors, especially concentrated here in Railroad Square. And there's a few different.
I think Railroad Square, certainly Courthouse Square, you would find. I think public places in the core of cities, you're going to find homeless people. That is just, it's a sociological phenomenon.
Sure.
I don't know if it's necessarily the concentration of shelter or meals or that sort of thing, but certainly it's the concentration of where people are and where businesses are, and we're all drawn to downtown.
Yeah, sure.
And that wouldn't be exclusive of people who don't have a place to live.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
So I'll go back to just asking that question.
Sure.
How could we be better neighbors?
Well, that's a great question. I mean, again, from my standpoint, the Redwood Gospel Mission has been a great part of the community, because you are always willing to help out, whether it's we're having an event and we need some help, setting up our tables in Depot Park and things like that, and you're always willing to lend a hand. And so some feedback that I have heard, I haven't seen this, but is that sometimes cars come and they pop open their trunks and feed people out of their trunks, and so that it kind of invites people to come outside of your kitchen hours and hang out and
I will tell you that just makes us crazy when people. So there are those who have said, we want to go care for the homeless.
Right.
Let's go park a car outside a homeless shelter where they provide meals for homeless people and other services and community, and give them sandwiches. And so we're thinking, why? Well, that's where the homeless are. Oh, no.
We have a system
that's
here.
where the help is.
Right.
You don't need to provide help where the help is. So we try to address that, but it's actually somewhat of a rare thing. We do have, there might be a perception, because we work with about 20 agencies that come, and we get a lot of food donations, and so folks come and get food from us to take to food banks and that sort of thing that they do in their churches or communities. And so that kind of maybe adds a little bit to that perspective, but in general, we certainly seek to squash something that makes zero sense at all, but it makes perfect sense to the people who are doing it. They say, oh, that's where homeless people are. We'll go feed them.
So that leads to a question, because I know when we've had events and we've had leftover food, we'll bring it to you.
Yes.
And so is that something that you would like the public to know, that if you have some, you can bring it to us in these hours, as opposed to just parking on the street and popping open their trunk?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. We rely heavily on food donations, because it keeps our meal costs to a minimum. I think, it costs us like $2 a meal, but that's mostly because so much of the food is donated to us, and we're able to provide incredible meals at a low rate. So I would, so absolutely people can do that, and yeah.
Okay, that's good to know, right? Because I wouldn't necessarily know that if I didn't work here, that it's okay to come and donate. And whenever I've come and chatted with anyone, there's always a friendly face here. And I think because I have worked with you, I know that. But maybe getting the word out that yes, it's okay, we're friendly. It's okay. You're not going to be hurt here or anything like that. And so I'm not sure what you could do in terms of helping to spread that narrative of.
Well, I will say two things. One, a lot of people do know because
Yeah.
we have a lot of people that do that.
Yes.
Just what
Yes.
after events, a lot of people will bring donations to the
good.
mission. We would always welcome more.
Yeah.
That's never, we would
Yeah.
never say no. But there is always going to be a perception.
Sure.
I won't mention the name, but a prominent figure in our community was having lunch down here at Railroad Square and had a little can of mace or a pepper spray or something of that nature on her belt. And I asked, well, why do you have that? And she says, well, I am at Railroad Square after all. And so there's a perception for a lot of folks that coming to the mission is a dangerous place.
Right.
I remember my first time coming to a mission, and I had trepidation.
Sure.
I saw people who were struggling with life on life's terms,
Yeah.
and it caused me fear. I was coming with my fiance at the time, now my wife of 43 years, and we were going to the Portland Rescue Mission, and it was a scary thing for us. Once we got to know the people, everything changed. And my children, we have 3 adult children and 8 grandchildren, and my children were raised at this place. And they found themselves to be very comfortable here. They knew the boundaries, they knew how to engage with people, but we felt it was not an unsafe place to bring our children as long as we provided adequate supervision, like anywhere.
Sure, sure.
But because once you get to know people, people are people, and but perceptions can cause that challenge.
Definitely.
We have loved over time helping with events like setting up and taking down, helping out with neighborhood cleanup when we put on our green vests, etc.
We greatly appreciate it.
We years ago, many years ago, we had a campaign of flower barrels throughout the Railroad Square, and we were the Railroad Square gardeners.
Oh, okay.
And so we're always happy to assist with those things because our real goal is to work with people in rehabilitation and helping people to become part of contributing members of the community. So any way that we can help you on an ongoing basis or on a event basis, we're thrilled to do that.
Thank you so much. I mean, we greatly have appreciated all that you've been willing to do, and I'd love to ask the same question of you: is how can Railroad Square be a good, helpful neighbor to you?
So one thing that we might do is, so we feel a little bit because of the kind of work we do and how we interact with Railroad Square, is we feel Railroad Square adjacent.
Okay. Yeah.
Which we're members, but
Sure.
we just because we want to be supportive of Railroad Square, but we would love if some of the merchants would love, as a part of a Railroad Square meeting or something, to come and do a tour and to talk to our team about what we do, and to have that interaction and feedback about how we can grow in our relationship, because the worst thing we can do is be isolated.
Yes.
That's the worst thing.
Right. I agree.
That doesn't help any relationship.
Right.
So, and we've learned relationships are about, it's all about relationships.
Yeah.
And so we love the Railroad Square relationship, and we would love to grow in that relationship.
Okay. Well, I'd be happy to spread the word and tell people, send out an email or whatever, and say that.
But it would it'd be nice to do it even as a group. I mean, so anyway, but that's it's just an idea that might be just another step, or how if you wanted, if there was a periodic time that you wanted us to address issues. So anyway, I'm getting a signal that says okay.
That went really quickly.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
So great to have you here.
Yeah, and hopefully we can chat more.
Okay, I'm going to be here all night.
Well, I'll try to drum up some more chatters for you.
Okay,
So
I'm really free at 2 o'clock in the morning. So,
okay.
Thank you.
Hi,
Okay.
Jeff. Keith Gokel.
Keith Gokel.
How are you?
I'm blessed. Good to see
nice
you.
to meet you.
Nice to meet you. No, come on.
Yeah, I know. Well, do you remember where we know each other from?
I from here.
No.
We
go back further than that.
Okay, you tell me.
CBMC.
Oh, right, way back. Yes.
When you were at Gray.
Yes, when we had CBMC, right?
That's right.
Yes.
When we had CBMC.
Oh yeah, that was gosh.
And you had this vision. You had this vision of helping the homeless, and that was almost 30 years ago.
30 years, yeah.
And you said, and we're going, yeah, well, tell us what we can do to help. And you said, well, pray, and I'll take donations if you got them. And you were such a young kid, but it was, and here we are.
I was, yeah.
Congratulations. Yeah. You did it. And I wanted to tell you,
survived.
This is such
so
a sweet...
let me ask our producer: is Keith close enough to that mic, or do we need him closer to the mic?
I think it's okay if he's getting in your mic too.
Okay, so there you are. So we want to make sure that we're hearing you.
Good.
So
Good. I can take this off. I wore this so you would know who I was.
You introduce yourself to me every time, and it makes me feel bad because I certainly know you, and I'm so and incredibly grateful for you, and your love for the men that we serve and your role in their lives. So, thank you.
The
God
pleasure
bless you.
is all mine. I'm the one that's blessed. I couldn't be happier doing what I'm doing.
Awesome. Well, so tell us about that, because you are a volunteer with Redwood Gospel Mission. How did that come about? And tell us about what you do, and about some of the relationships that you have, because your role is all about relationships.
It is.
Yes.
It is. Well, I retired after just an absolutely beautiful career with PG&E. I loved my career, but it was time for me to go. I was having some issues, health issues, and so I had always had my eye on you, Jeff. I had always had my eye on what you did, and what was interesting is I don't think anybody at the start of this would ever go by a homeless person and go, oh, that's wonderful, look at that. You're kind of jaded and kind of, oh, what's this? And yet you dove in. You decided to dive in and help those that couldn't be helped, those that didn't have friends. And I always go, boy, what a soldier to do that. What a powerful ministry you have. But it was kind of scary for me. And so I retired, and so I had asked, there was another gentleman who was doing a class here, and I said, could I shadow you? I would love to just see what was going on in there. And I came in, and I had that same reaction. It was like, oh my gosh, look at these people. Look at it was scary. It kind of jolted me a little bit, and I was a little concerned about Keith and his situation, his safety in the room. But then I got to see it unfold, and so I asked, can I come back? And I came back again, and I never left.
Okay.
I do a class now on Gospel of John, and engage with the guys, and it's fantastic. It's fantastic.
Awesome. So we, for the folks that are watching, I think there's about 1,000 people watching. No, about. Over time, cumulatively. So we, you're one of the number of teachers that we have. We actually have 3 hours of class 4 days a week, with 3 different groups, with candidates, with people in the early phases, and then phase 2. So we have we really have 36 class sessions, class times a week, and there's always opportunities to have. Yeah, did I say 36? I got to do the math right. So it's 12 times 4. Is that 12 times? Yeah, 12. 48. Wow, my goodness. 48 class sessions a week that we have. And that's still not right, is it? I can do the math.
I think we get the message.
We'll get the message. No, it's 3. So it's 36. 36 classes a week. And so there's always an opportunity for teachers to come in and to be initially frightened like you were initially frightened, and then to see it unfold, and then to see relationships be developed. And
I love the guys.
And that love happen.
It does.
So we say with the Redwood Gospel Mission that in the grace and power of Jesus Christ, we mobilize our community to minister to people in need so that lives are transformed. And you might say it's not just the lives of the people you're serving, but there was some transformation that happened for you as well, that you went from fear to love.
Oh, yeah. And there
right?
continues to be that.
Yeah.
You know, the transformation now is as I get older, you know, some of us have losses, whether financial or family or whatever, and you learn to adjust. You learn, you go, you know, if these folks can do it, so can I.
Yeah.
And so you start preaching to them, and what you're really doing is you're kind of preaching to yourself.
Amen.
And a lot of that what we do is universal.
Mm-hmm. What have been some of the, we're transparent. What have been some of the biggest challenges that you've experienced as a volunteer, and what are some of the biggest blessings that you've experienced?
I get maybe some of the biggest challenges is not being 100% successful. With the people that we're working with, that there are the people in the program members and so forth, they just aren't able to do it. They they're pre-wired, or there's triggers that occur to them, or there's a bad apple in the group, or whatever you want to call it, and they take off, and you go, I love that guy. That person was fantastic. So you have to be able to let go and stay focused on the overall goal of what you're doing, not necessarily the individual people, because it's a very transient kind of group that we're with, and you're focusing on the 1 or 2 that do make it, not the 5 or 6 that don't. Yeah. But you certainly focus on everybody. So that was probably one of the biggest challenges for me, is to be able to let go of those that I wasn't, because I like being. I think we all like being successful. Yeah. The biggest blessing is, like I said, the transformation of walking up to a person that, you know, that has tattoos on them or is angry or something like that, and just going, hey, hi, how are you? What's going on? And really having that in our heart, not just faking it, but you really care about the person, and they turn around and go, Keith, hey, you know, and they do that, and it's wonderful.
Yeah. Amen. That is what blesses me as well. With our classes, I said our classes have to all be taught by volunteers, except for one. I get to teach one class.
Yes, and I think that's wonderful.
Because I want to stay connected and involved with the Men on the New Life program. One of our coaches, Tim, when I asked him the question, not in this format, but in another, you know, what have you learned by being here? He said, addiction's real, and we learned that in this environment is how powerful addiction is. But when we see people break free, it's all the more amazing and miraculous and a God thing that it happens, and we're so grateful for it, and grateful to get to be a participant in that.
You know, I would add that we live in a broken world.
Yeah.
And everybody's broken. There's nobody that's not broken.
Yeah.
And it's only through the grace of God and our willingness to surrender can we improve ourselves on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Every day. And so we're just now taking that and sharing that with others, because they're kind of like kids. You love the kids and the people out there, and so it's such a wonderful thing to watch.
Yeah. Some of the men on the program referred to those who have not struggled with substances as normies, as though there are no life-controlling issues that people are dealing with. And half my time I try to say there's no such thing as a normie.
There's no such thing. I mean, I have it, you have it. You know, we all have these struggles that we do daily, and we need to work on those. And so that's the joy of working on a daily basis.
We talk about struggles. What are some of your kind of favorite stories of testimony or healing or transformation that you've experienced within the men that you see?
You know, there's certainly mental health issues in there that again kind of jade or kind of shock you a little bit, because I'm not a therapist by any means, and we have so many different spectrums out there, and there's one person that just moves all the time.
Yep.
He's always moving.
Yep, know him well. Wonderful guy.
Yes, I'm not going to mention his name, but I love this guy.
Yeah.
And you know, he does this during the class, and he makes noise and like that, doing everything that normally would frustrate you as a teacher, angry. But when you hear the words, he's listening. And when you ask a question, his answers are profound and beautiful. And,
awesome. And
so I have learned to really love that individual. And I can say that about a whole bunch of different people within the program.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. He's one of my favorites as well. He was in my class a long time because he took the scenic route. And I just deeply, deeply love him and trust for God's complete work in his life as he continues to surrender to him, and as we all continue to surrender. Anything you want to add?
Well, I mean, is this going to be edited?
We are live.
Oh, we are live.
We are live.
We are live.
And streaming.
Well, fantastic. Two real quick things is I think it's so important to be able to identify where there are problems and fix them. And you can call that risk assessment, or you can call that integrity management. Whatever you want to call that. I think within an organization, that it's so important to have a little bit of check and balances, and I think that everybody should have an opportunity to express concerns, whether anonymous or not. And so I just see that as something that PG&E has done that's changed the whole culture within PG&E, because they allow their employees, it's called the Corrective Action Program, or CAP, to submit going, hey, you know, I'm concerned about this piece of equipment, or I'm concerned about this, that, or the other. And it's brought to the attention of people, and it's evaluated, and it's not just thrown under the carpet. And I think that type of getting rid of the systemic problems that may exist keeps that longevity, and also speaks to all the members within the group going, they really do care. They really do care. So one last thing is that, Jeff, this is such a sweet program that you have. This is such an amazing, amazing program, and I encourage anybody that has the courage to come in to either connect with me or connect with individuals to see what's going on. But the program is a very sweet program. You're a very sweet program. So I understand that you like dark chocolate. So I brought you some dark chocolate.
I do, thank you.
I hope you enjoy it. You have a phenomenal staff, and I love your outreaches and the events that you do. We have the Thanksgiving banquet coming up.
And you've been very involved with the GTB.
I love that. Put me in, Coach.
Yeah.
Put me in, and so thank you for this opportunity to connect with you.
Okay.
All right.
Well, thanks, Keith.
All right, God bless.
God bless
All
you.
right, see you again.
Okay. My, oh my. So we've got, do we have a Zoom coming up now, or do we, is he waiting for me? This is my producer here, Trey. He's our director. My producer's over there. looks like we're going to be going online and having a conversation with the president of the City Gate Network, a network of 320 missions that we are partners with.
Right next to you. Or do you want a bubbly?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Are we doing
Are we connecting to Tom?
Yeah.
Yes.
How? I mean, are we
Help
going
us.
to a room or?
There he is, but
Let me text her because.
so if you can bear with us, we are doing everything live and raw and unfiltered. And so our next thing that we're going to be doing is, again, as I said, connecting with a man named Tom DeVries, an amazing gentleman who serves as the president and chief executive officer of City Gate Network. Tom's background was he's been a denominational leader and also the leader of the Global Leadership Network that many people are familiar with, and he has been serving for a couple of years now in the ministry of City Gate Network.
Should I just invite him?
Yes, we want to do an invitation, I think.
But that doesn't give any information.
Dead air. That's the greatest thing to have when we're having some technical difficulties. Okay, Tamara, who are we trying to reach out to?
Tom DeVries.
Tom DeVries.
I'll play a Thanksgiving.
You know what? While we're waiting for some technical difficulties to be solved, let's watch a little video of our great Thanksgiving banquet. The mission of Redwood Gospel Mission is that in the grace and power of Jesus Christ, we mobilize our community to minister to those who are in need so that lives are transformed. I can think of no other event that is so demonstrated as the Great Thanksgiving Banquet. More than 600 volunteers are involved in ministering to upwards of 5,000 people coming in. Not only that, scores of churches and groups throughout the community have been involved in putting together food boxes for families and raising funds for turkeys and donating coats and donating all kinds of supplies for this event.
My name is Paul Hadworth. I'm the food service manager at the Redwood Gospel Mission. It's my job to facilitate food distribution from all the donations that we receive, making sure it gets into the hands of people that need it. This event here is our first annual turkey smoke. We've got local barbecue restaurants and companies coming out to smoke turkeys for us for our Thanksgiving banquet. We have about 250 to 270 turkeys that we're smoking today, and they're going to serve up to about 5,000 people.
We got a call from Redwood Gospel Mission about doing this big turkey cook. You know, they feed thousands and thousands of people throughout the year that a lot of people don't know about. People don't understand how many homeless we have in Sonoma County in Northern California. We're a very rich county in all types of things, but unfortunately we do have a very big concern with homelessness. And through my show, Guys Grocery Games, we got to work and participate and partner with Redwood Gospel Mission, and they're great people, an amazing group. So when our buddy Paul called and asked if we could help cook turkeys for this Thanksgiving, cooking 300 turkeys is quite an endeavor. I mean, you think about one oven, one turkey, and the whole day. Well, we have to pull this all off in one morning. So great restaurants from all over the county, catering teams from around the county, and we're cooking 300 turkeys. And right now we're in the process of cooking them, cooling them, and then we have a team inside here that's shredding them and getting that turkey ready to be served next Thursday. So it's great to have a collective group like Redwood Gospel Mission. They're able to take the energy, take the support, take the money, take the donations, take the people that want to volunteer time, and get it focused and funneled in the direction of actually helping the community.
We have people that have stepped up to provide medical and dental services, people to provide haircuts and foot care and facials and coats to distribute to people who are in need in the community. We have hundreds of volunteers who are helping serve meals and provide all kinds of services. And in addition to that, more than a dozen churches are involved in putting chapel services on to share the good news and the hope of Jesus Christ with people in our community.
I think it's a great opportunity to actually relate to people and be able to speak life into people and to have one-on-one interaction with people and meeting their needs. It's a great opportunity to just get to know people. It's really awesome.
Oh, this event is amazing. I look forward to it every year. It's a big one. It's exhausting, but so worth it.
Thank you, Redwood Gospel Mission. Send all your donations there. They help us. This is where your donations go. Look at this stuff. Thank you, Jesus. That's all we have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you, God.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Yes.
It is truly an event where, in the grace and power of Jesus Christ, our community has been mobilized and is mobilized to care for people in need. And lives are transformed, not just the lives of the people in need, but the lives of the volunteers who are participating as well. I am loving this. Welcome back to the thousands who are watching us online. And I have a wonderful friend, Ted Williams, who I've known for many years. And we are in a reverse role.
Yeah.
For many years, Ted would interview me because Ted was a radio personality here in the community. But you also have a really important role as a first responder in our community as well.
Yeah, after the events of 9/11, I felt very passionate about getting educated up and go back to my original love. I was going to be a doctor early on in my life, and so I went back to school, went to the Santa Rosa Junior College, became an EMT, and then after a little bit of time working on the ambulance, decided to go back to school and become a paramedic. And so I've worked as a paramedic, and then I retired off of that. That's a young person sport.
Yeah.
And now I teach quite a bit, and I taught the staff here.
Yes, you've taught our staff on a few occasions because we need first aid training ongoing, and we we have a vulnerable population, and you recognize that, and you might recognize that because both from teaching us, but also from being a paramedic and being a first responder, you've definitely encountered homeless people in your work. Tell us a little bit, if you can, tell us a little bit about some of your experience and some of the challenges that you've experienced in serving homeless people through your work.
It is a fascinating thing, and it's certainly important that we realize that they're vulnerable. They're exposed to the elements. They're a lot of times coming up or coming off of a bad situation. They're scared of us. So we need to approach them in a way that makes them feel comfortable, and that always doesn't work out. So the things we encounter with them are the same as we encounter with anybody in a home or in a business. They're vulnerable to sicknesses, illnesses, and injuries the same. But for us to really try to treat them with dignity and respect, courtesy and professionalism, they feel more like a human being when we get to treat them that way. It doesn't always happen, but but when it does, I can really see where they liven up and they're grateful for it.
So your role, you work with a lot of other people in the industry. Is there emotion around a reality that homeless people probably have a greater percentage of calls for services than somebody who is housed?
I think that it's a wider range of things, simply because of, like I was saying about not being quite so healthy, to begin with, and then they're exposed to the elements, and then there's the potential of other drama that goes along as well in that type of community. That they are more vulnerable, and they do have some more serious issues. A lot of them, they have multiple issues. We're not just there for one thing. We'll find the person, and they have several things wrong, and hopefully we can get them in to get the care that they need.
Wow. So give me a little bit of your perspective of your background with us, because you've worked with us in a variety of different capacities over the years. You've hosted our banquets. You have interviewed me on multiple occasions, and you've been in this community for many years and know Redwood Gospel Mission quite well at different levels. Tell me a little bit about your experience with the mission and what you've seen.
Well, I came here in the late 80s and starting a little radio station called K-Love. And at that time it was in Bakersfield. We brought the makings of it here to Santa Rosa in 1988.
KLVR.
Yeah, that's right. Very good.
Yeah.
Good. And originally KCLB, then KLVR, and then KCLB in the Luther Burbank Center for quite a while, and then Bob Anthony, Dick Jenkins, myself, several others worked with it for a number of years, and immediately we got involved with the Redwood Gospel Mission. At that time, ministries were struggling. We did our best to try to get the word out about how we could help with that, and I remember the early days of really seeing some of the shelter situations of places where women could be and children could be and things, and it was important, and so that fell right in line with us. As I went to other radio stations, we did the turkey things. I helped out with the Thanksgiving Day several times, and loved that. And like you mentioned, the banquets and now teaching CPR for your group has really been great too. But there's always been that connection there to just feel like this is such a worthwhile ministry in Sonoma County, and now into Mendocino County as well. I caught you at noon when you went on today, so I kind of heard your introductory things. Yeah. And so just to know that it's really spreading out and it's continuing to grow, it's meeting the needs of people in a different way. You and I, with our interviews in the past, it's been interesting because I know your overwhelming theme is about relationships, and it's about building relationships, and if people have relationships, the chance of them being homeless on a terminal, long-term basis, it reduces. And I agree with that. I really do believe that. I know there are some people who resist relationship. There's going to be a few that are not going to be able to respond to it, but by and large, I think you're making a huge impact on the homeless community by providing services that, we just don't think about. For people outside of the mission, just people living in Sonoma County, they may see this building that we're sitting right in front of here with a big Jesus Saves sign. It's kind of an icon here in Santa Rosa, but they're not realizing that the showers that are out there, the mobile showers, the laundry services, the men's services, the facility to learn a trade.